Welcome back, everybody. This is QuestionMarc, and I am here with a guest on the channel today who is my roommate.
Hello.
I think he'll just be addressed as that today, but he is also a quite experienced commander player, and I find a very methodical deck builder. And so I'm going to very much appreciate his input on this one as well. You're familiar with Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yep. Watched it multiple times.
Great. Me
Great
too.
show.
Me too. Love the show. So we both are going to have a lot of magic and Avatar: The Last Airbender knowledge to bring to this one as we go through a tier list of all the new commanders. But today we are starting with Avatar: The Last Airbender Eternal, which is one of kind of two sets they're releasing simultaneously in a way. You can tell them apart because of the set symbol here, which depicts this Aang's glider. And that is going to be for certain promo cards, like the panorama kind of poster cards, whatever, as well as Jumpstart and Welcome decks. So these cards are not going to be standard legal. We're splitting them up between this and the actual standard legal set, which we will make a separate video, just so that we're not sitting here recording for like 5 hours. This should keep it a little more reasonable time. I've got all the ones from Avatar: The Last Airbender Eternal in here. There are 47 potential commanders, and I have them in alphabetical order. And we're going to be ranking them from excited, which I think, well, this is kind of my channel, and I think I want to kind of have final say on this. I'm definitely listening to your input and your opinion on where things should be nudged if, if I'm not maybe getting the full scope of something.
Closer, yeah, if you haven't thought of an angle for a thing.
So excited to me means that this is probably great, but at least interesting enough that I genuinely would like to build for it. Or you would.
Yep, no, already added it to my list of potential commander decks to make.
Exactly. Like we're wanting to build this one in particular. And flavor could matter for that as well. You know, if it's one of our favorite characters, we might be more excited. High potential, those are the ones that I think are good commanders. That if anyone else wants to build them, there's plenty to work with. Seems good. Better in the 99 are, cards that are good, but probably not as a commander. I've also recently added questionable. I thought it was questionable. These are the ones that it's like, well, how good are lessons, though? How good are bards? How good are sagas? Is this going to be... When we don't have all the information, really, it's going to depend on the future. Maybe high potential, but not yet. Things like that. And then lame are ones that seem like kind of a dead end. That you really probably shouldn't build around this. Probably doesn't even make sense in the 99. So, with that in mind, we'll get started with the first commander on the list, Aang, Airbending Master. We didn't discuss. Do you want to do the reading of the cards themselves? No? Okay. So Aang, Airbending Master is 4 generic mana and a white for a legendary creature human avatar ally. He's a 4/4. When Aang enters, airbend another target creature. If this is your first time seeing airbending, and hopefully by now it isn't, although pre-release is happening this weekend at the time of recording, airbending means that you exile the thing, in this case a target creature, and while it's exiled, its owner may cast it for 2 generic mana rather than its mana cost. Just so you know, this does not get around timing restrictions, so you can only replace the creature at sorcery speed normally. Moreover, whenever one or more creatures you control leave the battlefield without dying, you get an experience counter. And at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 white ally creature token for each experience counter you have. Why don't we start with your analysis?
So, it airbends. That is a useful bit of removal. Having
Yeah.
removal on the commander is always a powerful thing. It's not permanent removal, which is a definite little minus to however else I'd rank it.
True. Because they. Okay, great. We instantly
Let me
have
deal
cats
with that.
fighting in the background, but I'll pick up where that's coming off, and hopefully that's the only time that'll happen. So yeah, because your opponent can bring it back for just 2 mana. I mean, if you got rid of their Gray Merchant, that would be bad. If you got rid of their Dragon, it's only temporary. They'll get it back. However, if it's their creature
Summoning
token, it's gone
Sickness.
forever.
Sure, although there's not a lot of creature tokens that I want to spend 5 mana to remove.
Yeah, unless you're playing against like a populate deck that's or a Merit Lage or something, it's pretty unlikely. Instead, you most likely are slowing your opponent down, or you could be blinking one of your own creatures effectively.
Although not nearly as loopable. I don't know of any blinks that generate at least 2 mana to let you keep that going. So it's value, but not combo, really.
But if we think about it in terms of what kind of deck are you going to build with this commander, you're building mono white, and you're building a deck where you do want your creatures to be leaving the battlefield without dying.
Yeah,
and
probably
one at
have
a
other
time.
blink stuff.
So yeah, you probably are doing a lot of blinks, and that is building up experience counters, and that is making allies.
Yep.
You don't want to blink the allies, but if we look at here's where my Scryfall search comes in. I want to look at cards you can play in a white commander deck that are allies.
A lot more now than there were a year ago.
Oh yeah, because there were allies in the original Zendikar block, and there were allies in Zendikar Rising, and now there's allies in this set too. So, there are 60 mono white allies that you can play, and traditionally allies would have this kind of ability, like Ondu Cleric. When it or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, you may gain life equal to the number of allies you control. Life gain isn't the most impressive ability, but in mono white, what are you going to do? But if you are building a blinking deck with Aang as your commander, you're going to trigger your allies a lot.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of good value. Bring up the tier list again, since I don't have it fully memorized. It's mid to high potential, not game breaking potential.
Yeah.
But you can have a good, fair, fun blink deck with it.
I think as well. Aang, I'm kind of hesitant to put him straight up into high potential because mono white's going to hold him back.
I'd say that's the cap, is halfway through high potential.
Exactly. He's the bar. Must be at least this good to get into high potential. He might end up being the lowest one on high potential for all we know. But honestly, yeah, I think that this is going to be a fine and fun bracket 3 deck that's probably just enjoyable there. Now,
And can make a good bracket 2 deck with it as well.
yeah, absolutely. And if you like Aang, boy, are you...
There's a lot of them.
What is it? Something for choice.
Spoiled.
Spoiled for choice, yes. Because there's 4 different cards with Aang as the commander just in this subset, and I think there's like 4 more in the main set. All the ones in the main set, there's like a mono white, a white and a blue, a white and a green, a blue, red, green, all that. But
1/5 color.
yeah. So it's 4 colors on the front and 5 colors on the back, so it counts as a 5-color commander, even though you don't have to pay black to cast him. So let's look though at Aang Air Nomad. Now, I mean, I'm just going to be kind of upfront with this one. I think this is the worst Aang.
I don't have all of them memorized, but it's not a good Aang.
Yeah, so 3 generic, 2 white for legendary creature human avatar ally. He's a 5/4 for 5 with flying, vigilance, and other creatures you control have vigilance. So, on the one hand, I think you could compare this card favorably to Sarah Angel, which is one of the most iconic cards in Magic's history. A 5-mana 4/4 flying vigilance.
We've
which
had a lot of power creep since then.
yeah, 5 mana, 5/4 flying vigilance, and gives all your other creatures vigilance. Whoa! Except you'll note that Sarah Angel is an uncommon these days. And why is she an uncommon? Because she's good in draft. And that's about it.
Yeah.
She's good in limited. If you're playing just a kind of Pharisees bracket 2 deck and you drop a 5 mana 4/4-ish flying vigilance, it's going to do some work for you. As your commander, 5 is a fairly high number. But let's be real here. 5 mana is a lot to get your commander going. And the payoff is vigilance on all your creatures, which is nice, but not revelation. It's not...
Doesn't change the rules in a game-breaking way.
No, especially not in a mono-white deck that can easily do vigilance anyway. So, honestly, I think I want to make a pretty quick take on this one. I think he's lame.
There's a couple decks that he'd be useful in the 99 if you want a 5th card that gives everything vigilance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right. We already have a handful of cards that give vigilance for less mana, and so are probably better for you. But, he could go in the 99, but as a commander, he's lame, and, that's about that. And not to say that, it would be a bad card in limited. Once again, it would be great. But just, you're probably barking up the wrong tree if you want to build that as your commander. Now, what about Aang A Lot to Learn? This is the uncommon Aang from one of the, intro products. So, he's 2 generic and a green-white hybrid. For a legendary creature human avatar ally who is a 3/2. Aang has vigilance as long as there's a lesson card in your graveyard, and whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Aang. What do you think?
So, I like building combo engines.
Yeah, you do.
And whenever I see the word whenever on a card, I pause and take a second to see if I can break the game with it. So this says whenever, but it's not a good whenever. It's a uncapped whenever, so you can loop creatures dying to make Aang infinitely big, but the payoff is an infinitely big commander, and after 21 commander damage, that's not any better. And even still, you've broken the game, you have a 21 plus powerful commander that you still need to give evasion and still need to hit 2 other people with. In green and white, that's going to be a 3-turn clock probably. And so it's at best, it's a good Voltron deck that you had to jump through a lot of hoops, and that there are a lot better Voltron decks for that. The other half of the card being lessons, need to see all the lesson cards to know how great those are, but you're also probably not going to have a ton in your graveyard immediately.
Yeah.
And
I've seen a lot of the lessons, and there are certainly a lot more good ones now than there were a month ago.
agreed.
There's one green lesson, which, by the way, I think is basically just rampant growth, but a lesson. So, a lot of decks will probably play that, because being a lesson makes it strictly better in some regards, like with cards like Aang. So I think, though, what's important to look at here is the criteria for what you want your commanders to do in Commander. So the biggest things would be, you want your commander to be card draw. You want your commander to be mana cost reduction or mana cheating or producing mana. You want it to be a finisher.
Yeah. A payoff value or change the rules of the game. And this is a payoff, i.e. you can make a big commander for commander damage, but that is not one of the best payoffs.
No, you have to work pretty hard in order to get his power up. You have to have a lot of your creatures die in green-white.
Yeah, and doing that fairly is going to be slow and not great, and jump through a lot of hoops that aren't super connected with Voltron, and doing it unfairly if you've looped creatures dying, or otherwise broken the game with that, you could have won many, many other ways, a lot faster, a lot better.
Yeah, and then if you are trying to win with like Silver Bullet with commander damage by making your commander huge and swinging out, you really need to have some kinds of evasion, some defensive
And a lot of
abilities,
protection.
and Aang has none of that.
Yep.
So the one last thing I'm going to comment on while we're looking at him big here is that it says, whenever another creature you control dies, and if you look at the art, all of his friends.
That is a little morbid.
Ooh, yeah. Because remember,
They
kids,
all die.
this is in the flashback scenes from 100 years ago. You know how many of them live 100 years? 0. So,
Aang's on the card too. He gets to watch all of them die.
No, he's not there for it. But he does get to...
He gets to see that they've all died afterwards.
Yeah.
Bear witness, like he does on the card, which thematic and sure good, but that's a very, very sad thematic
Absolutely.
deck to make.
So, now we go to what I think is the most potential, the most powerful of the Aangs that we're going to be covering today, Aang and Katara. In part, most powerful because it better be, considering you're paying 6 mana for it across 3 colors. It's 3 generic green, white, blue for a 5/5 legendary creature human avatar ally. Whenever Aang and Katara enter or attack, create X 1/1 white ally creature tokens, where X is the number of tapped artifacts and or creatures you control.
So there's 2 different decks that you could build a number of different ways out of the cards they've just given us. A allied tribal deck and a go wide tokens deck. This could be the commander for both of those decks. I don't have all of them memorized, so after we see some of the others, we might bump them up and down because this is better or worse than the deck that's doing the same thing. That said, in isolation, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
Creating X is a wonderful thing. And especially when it's create X and you can do that again if you blink this or just attack with it.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
so
a big deal. I mean, besides the
snowballs.
fact that a lot of the Aang and Airbender cards do care about kind of blinking, they will trigger when they blink, but also it's got the Titan text on it of when it enters or attacks.
Yeah.
And personally, I like a commander that continues to do a thing.
Yeah.
Ones that just have an enter trigger are
has to be a
underwhelming
really
to me,
big-
unless it's like the craziest, coolest enter trigger you've ever seen. This one's pretty strong, but then
And it snowballs
continues.
with itself. It's the create X creature tokens, where X is the number of creatures you just attacked with effectively. And so then the
Right.
next turn you've made more, and now you get to create double. And the next turn you create double that, and create double that.
Also, there's some subtle synergy here with waterbending, because it counts the number of tapped artifacts and creatures you control, when waterbending costs allow you to tap artifacts or creatures towards waterbending costs. So if you include some waterbending cards, you can pay for them while, making more allies that way. So there seems like there's a lot of synergies here for one solid block of text.
Yep, the waterbending definitely powerful in that it gives you a discount on stuff. I wouldn't jam 15 waterbending cards into this deck just because they say waterbending.
No,
but if any are
a few of the
good for
best.
what they individually do, then great extra synergy.
Oh, and you can be playing your Noble Hierarchs, your Birds of Paradise. It'll count those. They don't have to attack. They can tap for any number of things.
Yep, green, mana dorks.
Heck, you can even avoid playing your Cultivates and Kodama's Reaches and play your Signets and Talismans and stuff, and that'll count too. So actually, you don't want land ramp necessarily in this deck. You want creature and artifact ramp. So, that said, Aang and Katara, I think, are definitely high potential. I had one last thing about this, which is, so this commander, while being large, it doesn't have any form of defense or evasion. But those are things that you need more if you're going Voltron, if you're going to the face. Also, if you need your commander to survive. And honestly, if they kill Aang and Katara, you already got one trigger out of it. So even though you did have to invest 6 mana in it, you're also in the colors that can protect your commander the best.
Yeah, it good chance when you since you have to swing with it after it has lost summoning sickness to get the second trigger. 5/5, you're not swinging against the Voltron player. The other people still might be able to double, triple block and kill it. And yeah, you can be played again for 8 mana. That's painful,
Yeah.
but it still gets you something immediately when you play it again for 8 mana.
And this could be a deck that's playing Cryptolith Rites and things like that turn all your creatures into mana dorks as a way of tapping them without having to throw them in combat.
Green, yeah, you can ritual, you can get a ton of crazy mana and get it back for effectively free, sure. Still probably worth having some protection and a little painful to... I'd go wide protection. Everything has hexproof and indestructible.
Yeah, your heroic intervention, stuff like that.
Teferi's protection, phase it out when they try and kill it.
Sure.
That because you don't care about that card in particular. You want all of your board to survive.
Maybe
and you don't really need it to do the 5 damage. If it does 5 damage, awesome. Eventually, you might take one person out if they leave themselves open every single time.
I mean, being a 5/5 is large enough that I think a lot of times you can just attack without any kind of support and have a safe attack on somebody. But, worst case scenario, if somebody does remove it, unlike a lot of commanders, you will have gotten some value out of it. So,
likely 2 triggers.
A lot of pros.
Yep.
So, then we're on to our second row here. Appa, Aang's Companion. For 3 and a white, a legendary creature, Bison Ally. It's a 2/4 with flying, and whenever Appa attacks, another target attacking creature without flying gains flying until end of turn.
So that's useful in the 99.
Barely.
Yeah, 4 mana for that's expensive.
Yeah.
There has to be some other synergy, and there's not a lot of Bison synergy out there.
There's one.
I said not a lot.
Yep.
But yeah, that's good evasion to give your hidden commander.
True.
Yeah, the hidden commander is not doing commander damage, so it has to be a really good one.
Yeah, I used to play a similar card in my dinosaur deck for a while. It's a Gashoth deck, and there's a dinosaur that's like whenever this dinosaur attacks, then you give another creature you control flying. In fact, I think the name was Majestic Heliopterus? Heliopterus. Okay, compare the two. Also 4 mana, also flying. When it attacks, another dinosaur you control gains flying until end of turn. And a 2/4 instead of a 2/2. Now, does that mean that Appa is good because I played this card? No, this card is bad. This card I have cut from my dinosaur deck. I only played it in my dinosaur deck because the number of dinosaurs that I had in there mattered. And my commander really wanted to have flying so that I could hit for the full 7.
There might be enough mono-white creatures that need to attack and buff your commander when they do so to make Appa viable, and then he gives them protection so that they don't die while they're attacking.
Does this go in a Katara and Aang deck? Like in the 99, so that you can give Katara and Aang flying so they can attack more freely?
In the 99, yeah, useful for that, and when you care about the creatures and your allies. But there might just be 15 cards that give one creature plus 5 or something nifty, and but only when they attack, and so you need them to survive, and then you use Appa as evasion to keep them alive in combat, and then they buff him and make him big, with quotation marks around that, because it's probably not going to be very big.
So I think the only way that this becomes useful is if you're playing a white, but probably multicolor deck that includes white. If your commander really wants to have flying so that it can be unlocked, and if you care about allies, all of those. And the Aang Katara deck, while it says allies on it, it actually didn't care about the number of allies you control in any way. So, even in the perfect scenario, I'm not sure if you play Aang. I think that puts him, towards the top of lame.
Sure.
I'm not even going to put him in questionable necessarily because I think we have the information that we need, really.
Yeah, there's a couple decks it will go into and be slightly better than the fourth card in that package.
Yeah.
But only, yeah, if you care about 3 different things on that card.
But that's not really the Appa that you want to be running. Appa the Vigilant is... this is a way more impressive Appa. Granted, it's for 5 generic and 2 white, but you get, for 7 mana, a 6/6 legendary creature Bison ally with flying and vigilance, and whenever Appa or another ally you control enters, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain flying and vigilance until end of turn. And I'm just going to say right off the bat, this is the ally finisher. In a lot of these ally decks, if you're playing white, and you probably are, then on turn 7 you drop this, you swing with your whole army, and you kill a player. And because they have flying, they probably can't be blocked. And because they have +1/+1, they are dealing more damage. And because they have vigilance, you don't need to worry about doing an alpha strike and keeping blockers up. You'll be good.
It's good in the 99 of the ally tribal deck.
Exactly. That does not make it a good commander. Because as a commander, you'd be limited to mono white, and it kind of doesn't do anything until you're ready to finish the game.
Yeah.
So, as much as I could kind of praise this card, I will be praising it as a good in the 99 card. And honestly, we can probably move on. There are a couple more Appas in the main set, of course, and those ones might be good potential commanders, but definitely not, and really kind of not. So, onto Avatar Kyoshi Earthbender. She is 5 and triple green for, so 8 mana total for a legendary creature human avatar. She is a 6/6. During your turn, she has hexproof, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, Earthbend 8, then untap that land. And because this is the first time we're seeing Earthbending today, Earthbending means target land you control becomes a 0/0 creature with haste that's still a land. Put 8 in this case, +1/+1 counters on it, and when it dies or is exiled, return it to the battlefield tapped. What do you think about her? Or Earthbending.
Yeah, I guess start with Earthbending.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that it has protection, because making your lands go into combat is a very risky thing.
Yeah.
The fact that there are very, very few ways to kill that land is wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
That not only is that defensive, it's also offensive, because there's not much point in trying to win a combat and destroy the creature if it's going to stick around anyways.
I love that she untaps the land.
Yeah, so
and
it's a mana
Earthbending
dork, gives you 1 more mana.
Woo!
But yeah, that's
gives you
that
a
late in the
rebate, a
game.
mail-in rebate.
Yeah.
And also, I love that Earthbending consistently gives the land haste, because if your land becomes a creature and it was
summoning
played
sickness.
that turn, it will have summoning sickness. So I'm glad that Earthbending solves that problem with haste, because I actually lost a tournament many years ago to animating a Blinkmoth Nexus that had summoning sickness. So you won't run into the embarrassment that I had.
Yep. No, it wouldn't matter most of the time, since you probably have other lands by the time you have 8 mana. But this, means you don't have to think about that.
You don't have to remember which land you played that turn. Wait, which forest was it? Oh no.
Yep. Earthbending 8 then is very big.
Huge.
It's still not. I mean, it's not commander damage. So.
Oh, and it's repeatable though at the beginning of combat.
Yeah.
On your turn, so every turn you'll make another one of your lands into 8/8s. And in fact, you can target a land that's already got 8 counters on it and make it 16.
Yep.
So
granted, the land doesn't have evasion, so you still need to have that to make sure it actually gets through. Otherwise, their 1/1 chump blocker will just stop that 16 damage.
Yeah, you'll want to have like Brawn in the graveyard or some other ways of giving it trample, most likely, because we're talking about a mono green deck here. But I think that we've kind of buried the lead that I don't think this is.
It might make for a potentially interesting mid-power bracket 2 deck.
I mean, this really
don't
feels
think
like kind of an Azusa Lost but Seeking deck, where you're trying to get up to 8 faster by playing more lands and stuff.
Yeah, and
But
it could go in the 99. Some decks, not many. The
Yeah.
hexproof is kind of worthless because they can just wait to kill it.
Yeah.
It's okay. It has immunity from combat tricks.
It means she's not going to be, like, entering the battlefield pathed before combat. You get the one trigger
You
consistently.
Sure, you get one. You still have to jump through a couple other hoops to make sure the 8 damage connects.
Yeah.
But yes, you get to put 8 +1/+1 counters on a single land after you've spent 8 mana.
Okay, you know what? I think the question at this point is, I think she is probably good in the 99. I don't know for sure how good earthbending decks are, but she does kind of feel like the top end of a potential earthbending deck. Considering that some earthbending decks are basically just going to be using it to untap their lands or not untap them, but like cycle them, like have them die and come back for more landfall triggers and stuff. But if the point of your deck is animating your lands and beating people with them, this does seem like a possible, like, top of the curve bomb to drop on people. Do you think?
Probably not a bracket 4 earthbending deck.
No.
Because by that point, you're gonna be killing people before you get 8 mana.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, a bracket 3 earthbending deck. Yes, this is a definite look at it. It does earthbending, and there's only so many of those.
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely need to look at it. Half of them probably don't keep it in the deck, but yeah, it's a card you should be aware of.
Okay, so far, this one could go in questionable, but I think once again, I'm going to put it in better in the 99, maybe
Lower
at the bottom.
in there, yeah.
Because Appa is clearly the finisher for the ally
Yeah.
deck.
This
Avatar
is
Kyoshi, though,
More mana and doesn't do as much.
yeah, doesn't give evasion. It just adds size.
Yeah.
And in a green deck, size is usually not what you're lacking, but you know.
There's other ways to get 8 damage with haste.
Oh, and with triple green, not easy to splash at all. You want to be doing mono green 2-color. If you start getting into 3-color, then it's kind of a stretch. But I think that's what these avatars are. Because as you go on to Avatar Roku Firebender, you'll notice he's also triple red. He's not supposed to be splashed.
Yep.
He's in a mono red deck. He's in a red with a little bit of something else deck, maybe. Specifically, Avatar Roku Firebender is 3 generic and 3 reds, so 6 total for a 6/6. Love it when that happens. For legendary creature Human Avatar, whenever a player attacks, add 6 red. Until end of combat, you don't lose this mana as steps end. And then for triple red, target creature gets +3/+0 until end of turn. For rules' sake, I want to make it clear that when it says you add 6 whenever a player attacks, so that means that if everyone is attacking on every turn, you'll make 6 red on your combat and on each of your opponent's combats. Not a guarantee, but if they do, that's what will happen. You will add the mana.
Yeah.
And until end of combat, you don't lose this mana as steps end. So that's kind of what Firebending does normally, that you will make the mana during the Declare Attacker step, you'll keep it during Declare Blockers, you'll keep it during the Combat Damage step, and you'll keep it until the end of combat step, which is the last time the creatures are still attacking, and then it will go away before you get to the second main of that turn.
Yeah. There are many cards which can let you keep that if you play an extra card.
True.
Which is fun, and that can give you 6 times 4 mana. That's a lot to untap with next turn and do crazy things.
Like this guy, you don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. So this guy will allow you to pass through the end of the combat phase, whereas Avatar Roku and the Firebenders do not.
Do have one rules question.
Yeah.
You're playing against the combo player or control player on the other side. They go, okay, I'm done with my main phase. And, in fact, I passed turn. They still have to, well, that was shorthanded. They have to go through their combat phase, even if they don't declare attackers. You still get the mana for a brief instant.
That is correct. Whenever a player says that they end their turn, that is a shortcut for I am passing priority until the end of my turn. That means you cannot skip your combat second main or end phases without a card that says skip them, literally.
Yeah.
So, yes, no matter what somebody is doing, they will have a combat step. Granted, this only triggers when a player attacks, but
Okay, so
if, for some other card's sake, every player has a combat phase on their turn unless they have a card specifically saying so. Saying that they skip it doesn't mean that they skip it.
okay, but yeah, the player has to attack with at least one creature. Attacking with 0 creatures doesn't trigger this.
Exactly. So you do need something like Goad, which I know you've been putting some thought into.
Yep, this is one of the cards I'm excited about. And have not finished the deck yet. I haven't figured out how to fix card draw for him, but
right.
Once I figure that out, it will be a very fun combat matters on everyone's turn deck with lots of goad or pseudo-goaded creatures that I give away an attack on everyone's turn.
Yeah, honestly, I'm excited about that. I know that you do lean towards bracket 4 decks, which often do kind of like win all at once. And that's not the most fun to me, but if everyone is going into a game expecting that, then that's fine. But I like it more when there's a lot of back and forth, more bracket 3 kind of stuff. And this seems
So you're saying
really fun.
Everyone should attack you on every combat, and that will be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make sure everyone knows that when we start the game. Everyone attack you every single time, and you will be happy.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'll do the same. I would do the same. But I'm actually going to be playing Avatar Roku, if I can get one, in my Xancha deck. Where part of the point of Xancha is giving her away and then encouraging people to activate Xancha's ability repeatedly, which happens to cost 3 colorless, 3 generic mana to draw a card, and the controller of Xancha loses 2 life. So I give this to my opponent, and then normally I'm trying to produce mana in batches of 3 in order to activate her ability.
This does
and
that twice.
Wouldn't you know it, it does it twice. And it gives me the alternate option of spending that mana in order to add 3 power to any creature, which, talk about the rattlesnake effect of being able to, mid-combat, add 3 or even 6 power to any creature that's in combat. The attacker, so that they're going to deal a lot more to the player. The blocker, so that a 1/1 can kill a 7 toughness creature. It is so scary and dangerous for your opponents to attack when Avatar Roku's around. Anything could happen.
Yep. It would lead to probably a lot fewer attacks, but you still have the mana sink that you can do some burn and draw cards, which wonderful.
So that's why you really got to put in the goad stuff. You got to force them to attack. And for that, we're looking at stuff like, I think my favorite one was the Goblin Spy Master?
Your commander attacks each combat if able, so that's...
Yeah, right. In with the Xancha deck, Xancha has to attack every time. So while the other 2 players aren't forced to, at least one of them is, and that's 2 extra triggers on Xancha. So I'm super happy about it in Xancha. But this is one they'll probably be going in an Avatar Roku deck.
Yep.
Where you give away a goblin that forces them to attack with all their creatures every turn. They'll hate it, and if your opponents work together, then they can kill that goblin token so that you aren't forced to attack repeatedly. But if your opponents aren't working together, they can let the 1 damage through from that goblin, and then they have to keep being forced into combat against their will every turn.
Yep.
It's very funny. So with that in mind, yes, we are excited for Avatar Roku. One of the most interactive mono-red commanders I've ever seen. So, I mean, it costs 6 to get out, but you've got Seething Song, you've got some...
Once it is out, it pseudo pays for itself.
And it really warps the game.
And it changes the whole rules of the game.
Yeah. That's what we were talking about before. So now, though, we are on to Azula Ruthless Firebender. This is our first Azula, and this is our first actual Firebender. And I guess our second experience counter one, but I'll get into that in a little bit. So, Azula Ruthless Firebender is 2 generic and a black for a legendary creature human noble. She's a 3/3 with Firebending 1, which means when this creature attacks, add a red, because Firebending is 1, only adds 1 red, and this mana lasts until end of combat. Whenever Azula attacks, you may discard a card, then you get an experience counter for each player who discarded a card this turn. So that's, you can make it you by its own ability, and if you've caused your opponents to discard some other way, that can be multiple players for multiple experience counters. Tricky but interesting. And lastly, for 2 generic and a black, until end of turn, Azula gets +1/+1 for each experience counter you have, and gains menace. One last rules thing about experience counters I didn't mention before is that you get experience counters, which is great because, like with Aang before, if the creature dies, you still have the experience, and it will, if the creature comes back, the experience becomes relevant again at the same number you left off on.
Yep, very hard to interact with.
Oh yeah.
I was super excited about this one until I reread the card and realized I was wrong.
Ooh.
I was wrong on
Reading
2
comprehension
different spots.
gets us again.
Yeah, so it's the firebending, and that red pip there doesn't make this a red card, which is sad.
Honestly, that one still trips me up and probably trips up a number of our listeners. As a commander, the color identity this card has is mono black. She has a red mana symbol on her, but only in reminder text. And we've been told since we saw Extort years ago that colored mana symbols count anywhere on a card except in reminder text. So she's a mono black commander. She can be, if she's your commander, your deck is mono black. And if she's in the 99, your deck does not have to include black for it to include her. Which is kind of a bummer.
Yep, that cuts out half the cards, or probably more than half the cards I wanted to put in this deck.
Yeah.
So that's gone.
Because that means you're making that red mana and you're only spending it on colorless instant speed stuff. Probably her own other ability, but...
Then the other part I read wrong was it says whenever, but it's a capped whenever. It's you get an experience counter for each player. And so that's at most 4.
So... what are some cards? I'm thinking of...
There's a couple black wheels that make everyone discard. Originally, I was thinking, everyone discards their whole hand. And then you pump it once, and she's just lethal. But no, it's you make everyone discard all of their cards, and you get 4 experience counters. And that makes her 4, 5, 6, 7... woo. Eventually that will do commander damage, but
okay, because I was thinking for a minute, like, actually that's pretty good. She gets you get 4 experience counters at once, but you're aiming, you more have bracket 4 in mind more often. I more have bracket 3 in mind, so while I'm like 4 experience counters, that's pretty good. You're like, if I'm not getting 21 commander damage, then what's the point?
Well, it was 7 times 4 experience counters. That was a lot more than 4.
True.
And so
especially when you thought you could play Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah. So that was you can just play her, give her haste, and make everyone wheel, and then poof, you've won the game. No, not quite that big.
Oh, they reprinted Dark Deal in this set. Each player discards all the cards in their hand, then draws that many cards -1.
Still probably worth having in that deck.
Oh, but she's even in the art.
It's much more fair than I had originally thought it was. And so it's still probably a decent bracket 3 deck.
I don't know.
It will make people discard cards, which will make people hate you, and they will either stab you in a back alley or try and ruin your fun. But
she inherently doesn't make you discard, or doesn't make other people discard.
No, but in that deck, you'll probably want to have other cards that make people discard.
Of course.
And that will get them to hate you, and that will get them to remove your commander or other stuff. The experience counters will stick around so you can handle that kind of hate, but it will still be a slower Voltron deck. Mono black isn't my favorite Voltron color.
No. Ugh.
But
Slim
it could
pickings
eventually
here.
get there.
I was thinking that you might want to be playing your Madness and Mayhem cards, but the Mayhem cards in mono black are pretty chintzy. And if we change that over to Madness, there's more, you know. I don't have them sorted here, EDH rec ranks, so they'll probably show... Oh, Jesus. No, you're probably not going to be dropping Emrakul in this deck, but I could see, you know, Necrogoy for Big Game Hunter, but still, that is slim pickings. Actually, I think I'm going to drop her down to lame. The top of lame. Even though experience counters are a pretty powerful kind of engine, you have to be discarding cards and you're not going to get that much value out of it. This is one of the worst things that you can be doing with a discard deck. Like, you won't just be playing Anji Falconwrath or something instead. So don't build this Azula. So we'll move on to Bosco. He's just a bear. He's 4 and a green for a legendary creature bear, and he's a 4/4. When Bosco enters, create a food token for each legendary creature you control. And for 2 and a green, sacrifice a food, put 2+1/+1 counters on Bosco, he gains trample until end of turn.
So it says for each. That's another
Yeah.
powerful buzzword that I love.
Oh yeah, and in the year of our Lord 2025, like half of all viable creatures are legendary.
Yeah, although mono green
Mono
limits
green.
that, and the legendary creatures usually are a little bit more expensive. There's not a ton of 1 and 2 drop legendary creatures that you would be wanting to play. But, I mean, some. But not that align perfectly with the deck. And
No. Okay.
and then, yeah, that just makes you a lot of food, which, as far as tokens go, isn't the most powerful
No.
one. There are a couple broken combo things you can do with food tokens. I don't think you would want him as your commander for those decks, but he might go in the 99 for them.
Probably not. And you're limited to just mono green. But who am I thinking of here? From the from the Dungeons and Dragons movie, is it Doric? Is that her name? Gosh, why did I
Haven't seen
actually
the
sort
movie
it
yet.
this way? You haven't seen the movie?
It's on my to-do list.
I love that movie. And I really liked the character of Doric, which I maybe should have put it in alphabetical order then, because how far down is she? Probably way far down. This was actually a little silly. But Doric is a, alphabetical order. And then we go down to D. I know that she starts with a D. Oh, wait, what? 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 Okay, apparently don't know who I'm talking about at all. Let's see. Well, if I can ever find her, Doric is a green legendary creature who cares about other green legendary creatures. If you build her deck, it basically says, jam as many mono green legendary creatures in your deck as you can. And you know what? I just saw Reki. Let's put in Reki. There he is. If this guy is your commander, you might want to play Bosco.
Yeah, no, Bosco does a big thing. Not a super powerful thing on its own, but a big thing, and in the right deck, that's wonderful.
What the heck? I don't know why I can't find her. She is green. I'm sorry to be kind of like doing a sidetrack here. She's a tiefling, or is she? No, not a tierling. She's a tiefling, I think, or maybe she's a satyr. Oh, There. Okay. That's what I was thinking of. That, yeah, when she enters, you search for a forest, put on the battlefield tapped, and then whenever she attacks, you can pay 2 mana, flipper, and then other legendary creatures you control get +2/+2 and trample until end of turn. So it's a deck where you want to be playing as many legendary creatures as possible in mono green. Probably nobody else is trying to build this commander right now, but I have it, and I still might do it, and Bosco would probably make the 99. That doesn't make it good.
No.
So, but is Bosco questionable? Is he? Okay, another test that I use for a lot of creatures in Magic is the vanilla test. And that is, you want the power and toughness to be equivalent to the mana value. So 5 mana for a 4/4 fails the vanilla test. So if you just had no other text on this card, would this card be worth playing? No. So you really need the food tokens to be worthwhile, and the food tokens don't do anything on their own unless you're paying some mana, and then on their own they only gain life.
Which is not great.
And
I think that's my grocery delivery soon.
Okay. I think actually I might need to put him in lane.
Yeah, for a couple specific food decks, it might be okay. But yeah.
Yeah. Too bad, Bosco. Oh well. We're on to Boomy, Eclectic Earthbender. He is 3 generic and 2 green for legendary creature, human noble ally. He's a 4/4 when he enters Earthbend 1. Only 1? That's weird. Whenever Boomy attacks, put 2 +1/+1 counters on each land creature you control. Oh ho! Okay, so he enters Earthbend 1, yeah. He attacks, and he adds 2 to everything that's been Earthbent so far.
So yeah, you want to go wide with land creatures. There's enough of those cards already out there to make a whole bunch of land creature stuff. Those normally have the big weakness of you don't want your lands to die in combat, but adding the earthbending could make that more viable. This makes a couple of them, or at least one, survive, but yeah, you still want to go wide with him, which you're going to have to solve your land creatures might die.
I think this one's pretty clear to me, actually. I think he's better than 99. Because
of those other decks, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because if you want to do the earthbending and put counters on your land creatures, you need something to be doing the earthbending better than enter and do it once. Yeah. And being mono green, you don't want him as your commander, you want him in the 99 of a 2 or 3 color deck, where the commander is like earthbend every turn or something. Yeah. And then he really amps that up. But on his own, you need to cram your deck with land creatures and earthbending stuff, and you'd just be in green? Nah. Better than the 99.
Yep.
Okay. That said, and fails the vanilla test, but adding 2 extra power to each land creature every turn would be good as long as it's supported enough.
On his own, he makes 3 extra power, 4, 5, 6, 7. So
exactly.
Kind of passes the vanilla test, spread out.
Yeah, if you're thinking a little more outside the box with it, yes, you're right.
I have thought outside the box once or twice.
So next we have Chong and Lily Nomads, which I thought this was way too deep to expect them to make a card based around these 2. I thought maybe the whole troop would get 1 card, but I think the whole troop got like 3 cards? Regardless,
they are very loud side characters.
They are. They have more lines than a lot of side characters, and more songs for sure.
Yep.
Everybody remembers Secret Tunnel.
Yep.
But
I think that is the Secret Tunnel in the background.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So Chong and Lily Nomads are 3 in a red for a legendary creature, human bard ally. They are a 3/3. Whenever 1 or more bards you control attack, choose 1. Put a lore counter on each of any number of target sagas you control, or creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn for each lore counter among sagas you control. This is weird.
Yeah, it wants you to build a very particular deck where you have a lot of bards and a lot of sagas. It has a whenever on it, but it's a very capped whenever. It it does do the win con slowly, but all on the commander, and so it's getting a lot of lore counters, and then those lore counters turn into a wide alpha swing. Not a great wide alpha swing, and it takes a while to get there.
Yeah.
And there aren't a lot of bards I can think of that are great to attack with.
No.
Even this one itself is a 3/3, fails the vanilla test, and you need sagas that let you give this evasion or protection so it doesn't die instantly.
And if you're playing them as your commander, then you're playing mono red sagas and bards. That is a bracket 1 deck in the making.
It has the potential for that. In 10 years, after they've printed a lot more sagas and bards, then maybe this deck suddenly becomes more viable.
I think this is exactly the kind of card that I imagined for Questionable, where it's like, I would be curious to see what the 99 looks like, but I can't imagine it being very good.
Yeah.
And why did they word that ability as whenever one or more bards you control attack? So it doesn't actually encourage you to play other bards, except that you could potentially have a bard already, play them, and get the trigger the turn that enters.
Or bard has evasion or protection. And so it's not safe to attack with the commander, but it is with the other bard.
I wish it said whenever a bard you control attacks a player.
Yeah.
You know, that way you could trigger like 3 times in a turn if you had multiple bards. As worded, there's almost no reason to play other bards, but also, like, you're stuck in a mono-red saga deck. Thank God for Final Fantasy and its summon elementals and stuff, because otherwise you'd be in a really rough spot for any, like, relevant playable sagas in just mono-red.
Yep.
So, gosh. And yeah, I want bards to be better. Is this better in the 99? There's no other commander that'll say play bards and sagas, except... Wait a second. Except... Tom. Wouldn't you know it? Tom's a bard. And he is the preeminent saga commander. Although when he was first printed, you would kind of go, I'm going to jam all my sagas into the deck, and whoops, I have 3 too many, cut them, deck's done. But nowadays you have, 3 times as many sagas as you could jam into a deck. So it's actually a lot more difficult to build a Tom Bombadil deck, because you have so many sagas you could be playing.
Still not super good. Or at least I haven't seen a bracket for Tom Bombadil.
No, there probably won't be, because sagas are sorcery speed. They tend to trigger once a turn, But, and playing 5 colors without a lot of the advantages of, like, fixing your colors and stuff. He doesn't do anything until he comes out at 5, Uberg. So, all that said, I think they're still going in questionable. I hesitate to say they're lame, because they're unique. And if a mono-red sagas deck with bards were viable, they'd be great. But just all those words are not attached to other powerful cards. That makes sense.
Yep.
So, we're on to Fang, Roku's companion, who is 3 generic and 2 red for a legendary creature dragon. It's a 4/4 flyer. Whenever Fang attacks, another target legendary creature you control gets +X+0 until end of turn, where X is Fang's power, so starting at 4. When Fang dies, if he wasn't a spirit, return this card to the battlefield under your control. He's a spirit in addition to his other types. Do you have any first thoughts about this guy?
So it kind of wants to be a Voltron commander that fails the vanilla test, which isn't very good.
Yeah.
It has a little kind of protection, but not really.
Yeah, 1 time.
It's a better in the 99, but how many Voltron decks do you want to pay 5 to buff your commander 4?
Yeah, I mean, okay. There's a card coming up that I like better, and that's oh no, it's not coming up today. Combustion Man is a similar mono red commander where you want to buff its power. Because with Fang, it does say, plus X, where X is its power. So, in theory, you could take a spell that will buff Fang's power and now
double it.
buff two creatures' power. That's obviously how Fang and Roku are supposed to work together.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about cards like Brute Force is usually the most straightforward, red card that just gives a bunch of power and toughness in this case, just 1 mana. If you Brute Force Fang, then yes, Fang will be a 7/7, and then when he attacks, he'll give another one of your creatures +7. That's kind of a lot.
Yeah, although while it's doubling is a very, very powerful thing.
True.
The problem is if you're requiring on doubling to get to commander damage 21. The doubling's not commander damage. It's another creature who needs to do 40 damage.
Right.
So that's not as good there. So you only really get to double once, not double twice with the commander's damage being amplified because it's commander damage. It's still potentially powerful. Probably low bracket 3 powerful. But
yeah,
you could have a just a value combat damage, combat tricks, mono red deck.
Yeah.
It would love double strike. It doesn't give if you just double strike it, that's not doubled. Or passed along to the second thing.
I'm thinking, what would it be good in the 99 of? Would it be good in the 99 of Gisela or Atarka? Yeah, it would be good in the 99 of Atarka because that's a dragon deck.
Yep.
And it gives the dragon's double strike. Because I'm thinking, if your commander has double strike, then
Giving
Fang
it 8 is wonderful.
giving 4 and then you're hitting twice with it. That seems good. So Fang, I think, might be at the bottom of better in the 99. Or maybe even still questionable.
No, it's probably better than the mono green one there.
Than Kyoshi?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll agree with that.
Because there's more just Voltron decks that it would benefit than there are Earthbending decks that she benefits.
Yeah, and I just saw one other thing here. Okay, so this will trigger every time it attacks, which is good that it triggers every time, but it doesn't have haste, so it actually won't trigger the turn you play it.
Yeah.
Gosh, that makes it even worse to me.
Yeah, 5 mana in mono red is pretty slow. So you're not getting that out there early, but yeah, for a low bracket 3 Voltron deck, it's decent in the 99.
All right, I'll go with that. Then we're looking at Firelord Ozai, which definitely has an intimidation factor going in here. Seeing him in his throne room, you can't even see the man. You can see the silhouette, the shadow of the man better than the man himself. Of course, he's the main villain of the series, and for the first season at least, this is the only way you see him, really.
Yep.
Except you hear Mark Hamill's sinister voice coming out of his mouth. So, for 3 and a black, he's a 4/4. Whenever Firelord Ozai attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, add an amount of red equal to the sacrificed creature's power. Until end of combat, you don't lose this mana as steps end. And for 6 generic, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until end of turn, you may play one of those cards without paying its mana cost.
So it does the value that you want in a commander of it. It helps with mana, it helps with card draw. Both of those are capped, i.e. you can only spend the mana during that combat. It doesn't, even if you got extra mana during that combat, that extra mana doesn't stick around. It's only this mana that you're not losing. Sacrificing a 6. What is it there? Power?
6
6
power.
power.
Yeah.
There are some Power Matters decks where you have spent less mana, so that's a ritual, and you can sacrifice it to get more mana, and then that's a net gain. Those are still not great decks, but
Well, obviously he can go alongside a lot of firebenders that will add to the mana that's made right there. And importantly, his ability, unlike firebending, does have a real red mana symbol. So he is a red and black commander,
yeah.
thank God. He passes the vanilla test, which the vanilla test is really intended to just show, is this creature's size large enough for the cost to be worthwhile as just a body? And this one is, surprisingly, which means that Daddy can stand up and get into combat a couple of times if he really wants to. And he really wants to.
yeah, you still probably need more cards in the deck to protect him after 1 or 2 combats, because he won't be able to keep attacking without dying.
With no menace, with no first strike or anything like that, he's going to get outclassed pretty quickly. But, clearly you are doing some kind of firebending, attack triggers kind of stuff.
Yeah. Or sacrifice. There's a whole bunch of bleed people for 1 or the thing's power damage when it dies. And putting a big thing and then sacrificing it to him so that you get mana, so that you burn someone for 6 extra is a decent game plan.
You know what? This might be your ball lightning deck. They used to print cards like this, not so much anymore, but Ball Lightning is 3 mana for a 6/1, trample haste, and at the beginning of the end step you sack it.
Yep.
So this would be a fun one to drop in Firelord Ozai. You attack for 6, sacrifice him for 6 red, and then you do the thing.
Yeah, it lets you play a bunch of otherwise very bad cards.
Which I love.
Yep.
That's one of my
It is
favorite
not a
things
good
in
stuff
Commander, is a Commander that lets you make use of cards you would otherwise not see. Now, interestingly, he makes this mana that only works during combat, but then you can spend the mana on his ability, and then his ability doesn't cast the card immediately like a Tali would. Instead, it says until end of turn, you may play one of those cards. So that means that you can play that card during your second main phase, or if it's an instant, you can play it during combat or end of turn kind of thing. And while it's not as good as like an Atali getting you all the spells for free, you do pick the best one, of course. And you don't have to commit to one until you're ready to use it. So you can keep all 4 kind of in your repertoire. Oh, opponent, all 3 in your repertoire until you're ready to use it.
Yeah, the fact that this really wants you to play niche cards that are otherwise bad and not just general good stuff means playing your opponent's cards probably doesn't work super well with your theme. They're probably not playing stuff with super high power. Maybe if they're big stompy, the power is equal to or less than their mana cost, and you not having to pay the mana cost means it was better than the 6 mana you put into it. But
Ogre Battle Master, is that the guy I'm thinking of? Battle Driver. This guy would probably be good in this deck, where all of your creatures get an extra 2 power and haste when they enter. Sure. That seems fun. You could also be playing some Blitz creatures. If I go black, red, and Blitz. Are you familiar with Blitz?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of your opponents will be playing Blitz.
Opponents?
I.e. the cards you get to play for free after you spend 6 mana.
No, I mean...
They'll have lands and mana rocks, and maybe some removal. I guess you also you can use counter spells if they have counter spells.
Strangely enough, you can.
And so that's nice.
But just for the rest of the turn.
Yeah.
So, but these are some examples
Love
of some creatures with Blitz, and with Blitz, you can drop a creature with haste, and then at the end of the turn you sacrifice it, and when it dies, you draw a card. So you can, replace those creatures. They will often come out for cheaper than their mana cost normally, stuff like that. But a lot of those are honestly kind of geared towards draft. Still, I don't know. There might be some potential in here. Sabin?
Yeah, not a lot of huge power.
No, you're right.
It still might be okay vanilla test-wise, but yeah, not game-breaking. Could make a decent bracket 2 or 3 deck.
Here's where I'm thinking. I'm thinking the top of questionable, strangely enough, because I don't think he's better in the 99.
No.
I think he's better as a commander, but I am not convinced that he's a good commander. I think you would kind of need to do the deep dive into the 99, because just because there's like 3 ball lightnings out there, and it kind of works with Blitz, and it kind of works with this, that, the payoff is this grab bag of random spells off the top of your opponent's deck, and he doesn't make you mana unless he attacks and you sacrifice a creature. And he doesn't do anything with it unless you spend 6. And no, that's real questionable to me.
It will get better over time as they print more things that happen to coincide with that. But yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm ready to move on to Heibai, Forest Guardian, which I'm pleasantly surprised that they made a main set Heibai and the Eternal set Heibai. And this is kind of the wild one. It's 3 generic and a green for legendary creature Bear Spirit. It's a 4/4. When Heibai enters, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a Shrine card. You may put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. And for Wooburg and tap, for each legendary enchantment you control, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token with this token can't block or be blocked by non-spirit creatures. So, are you familiar with Shrine decks?
I have not made one myself. I know they're a thing. I know they can do some pretty broken stuff. And this might be a new Shrine Commander. I'm not sure if it's better than the current 5-color Shrine Commander.
So this is the current 5-color Shrine Commander, and let me just say that Heibai is not better, but that's a good thing. Because as it stands, there was no Shrine Commander before this one, and they printed this one, and it made Shrines a viable deck, but it kind of went too far in that you went from a theme that had no support to a theme that, everyone who's playing Go Shintai is doing this, and it's kind of busted.
Yeah.
So
it's, accidentally you're a bracket 4.
Yep. Accidentally skipped up from bracket 1 to 4 or something.
Yeah.
Heibai is, I think, a much better bracket 2 or 3 commander for the same kind of deck, while simultaneously giving us at least 5 new shrines in this set to make use of that are all in flavor. So I actually think that this is a great commander, arguably a better design than Go Shintai, which you'd probably put in the 99 of this still, because, it's a good card. And there's a theme, a mechanic that we're seeing here that we'll see again, I think, which is making spirits that have a kind of shadow or horsemanship kind of thing. Well, not horsemanship. They can only block or be blocked by other spirits.
Not very thematic. And good flavor.
Mm-hmm. Because Shadow in Magic does the same kind of thing, but in Avatar: The Last Airbender, in that world, there are spirits that have their own kind of parallel dimension that sometimes overlap with ours and often don't. And so there are a dozen or so cards in this set that make spirit tokens that are 1/1 colorless and that have that kind of no combat interaction thing, and I think that's neat.
There's a couple, what is it, counterspell or removal that makes us a 1/1 spirit creature token.
Okay.
So there's a couple weird accidental ones that will also get you spirits, and or accidentally give your enemies spirits, which you wouldn't really want to do. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm excited about it in particular, but if you really liked the and if you really liked the shrine tribal thing and wanted to do that at not bracket 4, this lets you do that. I wouldn't say that's high power.
No.
But it's, yeah, somewhere there.
Also, I'm really glad that they did make it a bear spirit because the panda form of Heibai is really cute. So, I'm really glad we got that. Honestly, if Goshintai didn't already exist, making the Shrine Commander decks already kind of been there, done that, then I would put this into Excited for sure. But given
it does
that
already exist,
it's borderline
does have a
for
reputation.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I happen to pull this, I might build it. But and if somebody else builds it, I'm going to be happy to play against it. This is going to be fun. Next, though, we have my favorite character. I think maybe a lot of people's favorite character. One of the 6 different Iroh cards in here, thankfully. But this is the mono red one, Iroh Dragon of the West. 2 generic and 2 red for a legendary creature, human noble ally, who is a 4/4. So passes the vanilla test with flying colors, because he also has haste and mentor, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, each creature you control with a counter on it gains Firebending 2 until end of turn. So wait a second. Mentor and that last ability, how do they work together? Mentor triggers when Iroh attacks, and the last ability triggers at the beginning of combat. Okay, so actually this Mentor will set up for that ability to work the next time. They don't both trigger in the same combat.
Well,
if you didn't already have any counters.
And yeah, the beginning of combat is after.
No, beginning of combat is before you declare attackers. Yeah, so that it kind of makes me want to put the Mentor ability at the bottom, but that's just not how they do keywords.
Yeah.
So how this is usually going to work is you will want to have some smaller creatures, maybe some ones with flying or something, little baby dragons or whatever, elementals, I don't know, that you can mentor under Iroh in order to get counters on them. And then once they've got counters, then they'll gain fire breathing in subsequent combats. But I said it passes the vanilla test because it's a 4/4 for 4 with haste and mentor. Problem is, as we said with Ozai, a 4/4 for 4 does get outclassed pretty quick.
Yeah.
Having haste means you get in one more punch, but odds are that's only going to be about 2 punches before people have answers to Iroh.
Yeah, you need a package to have him survive multiple combats, and that's going to take up space in the deck.
You could, in a kind of more aggro control deck, usually bolt some creatures out of the way, but red runs out of energy on that pretty quick because it can't kill large creatures.
It could be a very good card in the 99 of a go wide +1/+1 counters deck. The ones where you make 10 creatures that all get a +1/+1 counter when they enter, and then you swing, and all of those have Firebranding 2, and that's 20 mana.
Also, you know what? He needs to attack in order for Mentor to trigger, but he doesn't need to attack in order for his last ability to trigger.
Yeah.
So once he's gotten a counter on a couple of creatures, he could just sit back and let the others firebend to their heart's content for the rest of the game. That makes it bad as a commander. I think it's genuinely not good as a commander.
Not bracket 4.
No, I don't think he's even a bracket 3, honestly, because he only really benefits creatures that are smaller than him.
No. It's if you just have a bunch of creatures and a bunch of +1/+1 counters, anyways. Then
okay.
He's turning those into a ton of mana, and there's a lot of red make X 1/1 creatures.
Are we talking about Arcbound? For some reason, I'm thinking of Arcbound.
Modular also might be a very decent thing to do.
Not that one.
No.
Arcbound Stinger was what I was thinking of. Hey, now this guy's got firebending.
Yep. I'm more thinking there's a whole bunch of X spells. Many of which are sorceries,
Okay.
but if any are instants, that's wonderful.
Are we talking about like what's that snake? Shoot, snake isn't probably going to do it for us. The stone serpent, stone coil serpent. Are we talking about like this? That stuff?
I'm thinking wide counters.
Wide counters.
Creature tokens.
Okay, you're talking about then maybe tempt with vengeance, like where you make a bunch of elementals.
Yeah. And so you've done that, and you also have another card out that gives everything a +1/+1 counter when it enters. And all of those swing, and you make a ton of mana to cast another, even wider, make X 1/1 creatures. Not the
Nope.
best.
I don't see it, friend. That's a lot of hoops to jump through, and then it would all have to be instant speed for the firebending to pay off. I think there's no way you're convincing me that this guy's a good commander, but is he better? Is he good in the 99? He might be.
In a couple already go wide token decks, yeah.
He might be somewhere around here. Like, he's not going to be as good as Appa or Boomy. I don't know if he actually makes the cut, but he might be better than these two. So, that said, I think I'm willing to move on from this version of Iroh to this version of Iroh. Oh boy. An uncommon one from the, like, welcome decks or something. So, we've got 2 generic and a red for legendary creature human noble ally. He's a 2/2. Whenever Iroh attacks, attacking creatures get +1/+1 tone a turn. That is
Not good.
pretty lame.
Yep.
It reminds me of I think it's Piana. Okay, so this is one of the first legendary creatures that I ever opened in a booster pack back in 2001. And I kept trying to make this thing a thing for so long, and it was never viable. Never viable. And in the year of our Lord 2025, you make a functionally identical red card, and it's still not good. Even though Ally is a better tribe than Nomad, red is a better color for it. Not having double pips is a little better. Still, I think this one genuinely goes down in lame, probably about here.
Sure.
Also, I don't think that I've mentioned that, for the most part, these cards depict these characters at different points in their life. So Iroh, for instance, was known as the Dragon of the West back when he was the lead general of the Fire Nation's army before the show that we know began, years before. But he, resigned after his son passed away in an attack that he led. After that, I think the next chronologically is he becomes a firebending instructor to his nephew, Zuko.
Yep. Then
Next we have Jet, the rebel leader, and sure enough, he is a leader of a rebel band. He's like a kind of Robin Hood kind of guy, although he does go a little bit more rogue than Team Avatar is willing to do.
Yep. More chaotic, less lawful.
He has killed people.
Yep.
Or at least done things that he knows will cause some people to die. Which is a little weird for mono white. But he's anyway, 3 generic and a white for a 3/4 human rebel ally. I do like seeing the rebel creature type coming back. Someday a rebel deck and commander is going to be viable again. I don't know if this is it, but whenever Jet attacks, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking, and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. What do you think?
So it does the value thing of gives you 1 card draw with some selection, and 3 mana ish for free.
That's going to be a pretty useful amount of mana.
It once a turn, so repeatable, not the first turn. That's value, definitely not bracket 4 value.
No.
It's bracket 2 value. mono white definitely restricts the deck building a lot. But sure, it does a thing. I'm definitely not excited about the thing. It's not a high power thing. It might be okay in the 99 of some particular decks that are doing similar,
I disagree on that
but
one.
not great.
Actually, my snap judgment on this guy is that he's like at the top of questionable. But because I can see him being a fun commander if you support him enough. So on his own, he's okay.
Yeah.
But if you start putting in things like Duelist's Heritage, I think is the card. Duelist Heritage. Ooh, they even reprinted that one with some new art. I would love to see it alongside Duelist Heritage. Whenever one or more creatures attack, you may have target attacking creature gain double strike until end of turn. So that way it's way safer for Jet to attack. And I think the Duelist Heritage is just a great card overall, allowing you to give double strike selectively on your opponent's turns.
Yeah, the mana value 3 or less is a pretty wide tribe out there.
Yeah.
That will constantly get more stuff printed for it in pretty much every single set they make going forward.
Welcoming Vampire is one that I quite like as a source of mono white card draw. It'll probably trigger off of at least half of the creatures that you'll be getting for free. I imagine that since they enter tapped and attacking, you want to have enters triggers and you want to have evasion.
Yeah, they need probably some way to survive that combat, which is going to limit the number of ones you want, and also the number of things that you'll be safe to put in the deck. Because, I mean, normally there's a couple of, just good hate bears, stacks pieces, ramp, whatever, that you might want to have in a deck that you're accidentally going to just kill if you put it in that deck. And so you can't put it in that one.
Oh, yeah, because if this enters tapped and attacking...
It's dead.
It's dead.
And so,
because people will not want to let this live.
Yep. And so you may or may not have wanted to have put that in the deck, but it's not safe to either way. So,
well, in mono white, maybe you don't want people to be drawing more than one card, but too bad you don't really want to do it in here, not with one toughness.
Yep.
You know what? You could... you know what would be great in the 99 of this deck is Reconnaissance.
I love that.
I love the card Reconnaissance. Let's get the modern printing of it up there. There. So that way, every attack becomes a safe attack, and you get basically pseudo-vigilance on all of your creatures every time.
Yep.
I do like that they included in the reminder text, if you activate during end of combat, the creature will untap after it deals combat damage.
That is, a nice reminder.
That's the main trick, where every time you play this card in the past, people will be like, wait, you can do that? Yeah! So, that said, I put Jet at the top of questionable, and I think that's probably where he belongs.
Yeah. If you get creative enough, you can make a almost viable lower power deck with it.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to dig.
Next, we've got Katara Heroic Healer. So this is the only white, mono white version of Katara. And being an uncommon, that gives us low hopes right off the bat. And 4 generic and a white for a 2/3. Ugh. Human warrior ally with lifelink. When she enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. I mean, I'm just going to say it right off the top. This feels like maybe the worst legendary creature we've seen today. This seems pretty bad.
There are a lot of go wide +1/+1 counters decks that love that effect. Not really for 5.
Yeah, I mean, if you're blinking her in like that Aang deck that we saw before, where it's like you're making a bunch of allies and you're blinking creatures out with airbending and then bringing back for 2 colorless, even then, this seems like quite a stretch.
Yeah.
Especially since she costs 5, the same mana cost as Aang Airbending Master. I think this is like right around here.
Yeah, there's some decks that would like that thing for half the cost or double the value.
Which is too bad because as a healer, she's actually very effective by the time you get to season 2 or 3. But she's also very scary by the time you get to season 3. Katara Seeking Revenge is 3 and a blue-black hybrid for a human warrior ally who is a 3/3. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may waterbend 2, and when Katara enters, draw a card, then discard a card unless her additional cost was paid. Okay, so you discard a card or she costs 6. Uh-oh. And she gets +1/+1 for each lesson card in your graveyard. Now that's interesting.
Not a tier list. I want to build a deck. Interesting.
Oh, no. So,
yeah.
There's the Secret of Bloodbending, which I think is the flavorful card that she wants to be discarding here. As then you get a lesson into your graveyard, so you have discarded a card. In fact, I think the way that you play this deck, you don't pay the waterbending cost. You discard every time, so you can get her out for 4 instead of 6. Although, you know what, I guess you could waterbend, you could tap another creature or 2.
Or artifact.
Or artifact or something. And then +1/+1 for each lesson card in your graveyard. I mean, while the Secret of Bloodbending is a pretty powerful lesson card, how many lessons are there in blue-black now? Probably enough. You don't even need to play them. You just dump them in the graveyard.
Yeah, even if you have 20 of them in your deck, which you probably don't want 20 of them. But even if you have 20 of them in your deck, you're not going to have 3 of them in your graveyard by the time you play her.
I mean, you're playing blue-black. You are basically building a self-mill deck at this point. So, there are 29 lesson spells you could be playing. So just in terms of raw numbers, you could get that number up quite high. However, even in the best case scenario, the magical Christmas land where you've milled yourself and you got her out and you discarded a lesson and you swing for like
13.
12 or something, they block with a 1/1 and and that's that. So without something like Menace or, whenever you discard a card, she becomes unblockable until end of turn or something like that.
Blue and black have a lot of evasion you can get.
True, but then that's one more thing that she needs that she doesn't come with. So I think that actually, unfortunately, does make her lame.
Yep.
Wait, is she better in the 99? No, probably not, because then just getting big is even less relevant.
Yeah.
So I think she might go, around here.
Yeah.
Which is too bad, because I think that she is... I love that episode, when she's really genuinely intimidating.
Yeah, I would have expected that episode's card to have her with some sort of, removal on her.
Yeah.
I discard a card and my opponents discard their hand.
Yeah, or each opponent sacrifices a creature or something, or you may destroy target creature.
A good
because,
existential threat.
She chooses not to, but you may. So, I don't know. Then we're on to Katara, Waterbending Master, who's a 2-mana 1/3, legendary creature, human warrior ally. Whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, you get an experience counter. Whenever Katara attacks, you may draw a card for each experience counter you have. If you do, discard a card. So...
It says whenever twice.
Yes, it does. And the first one is uncapped, in the sense that if you cast 3 1-mana blue instants on your opponent's turn, you will get 3 experience.
Yep.
So that's neat. And then when she attacks, that's capped because you can generally only attack once in blue each turn. You could draw 4 cards and discard 1. And in a blue deck, you could easily not worry about discarding 1 card, even if you're not drawing many. But in the late game, you could be drawing a lot and discarding next to nothing.
Yeah, blue has a lot of access to drawing a bunch of cards anyways. I guess more frequently, lots of cantrip draw 1 or 2. Less commanders that draw you 10 or 20. and she could do there and get there eventually. You still need a win con, and that's
Yeah.
something blue doesn't do as well.
No. This seems like a mono blue control commander.
Yeah.
Where you are just countering spells and bouncing things like it's going out of style, and that is one of the most hateful kinds of decks there is.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Would feel very waterbending of the
Yeah.
deflect, use their own power against them. But and then refill your hand and just be very, very mana efficient to deal with your mana issues. But you'll end up with a very unfun long game that you have locked the table out and can't find a way to actually win.
So for my money, that puts her at the top of questionable, where she's not better in the 99. She's definitely better as a commander. And she's a mono blue commander. And there's a lot of stuff that you can do with her. But does it end the game? Not so much. And how do you end the game in mono blue? Not quite sure.
Although I guess there's a lot of 2-card combos in mono blue. And so if you're just drawing a ton of cards till you find both of them and then win, that's a doable thing. So it might be the lower end of high power, with just a big asterisk for this isn't fun to play against.
Yeah, that's I think why I'm putting it back down in questionable. Because if you find a way to kind of break her, you probably built a really unfun deck.
And then you are questionable. Sure.
Yeah. So, with that said, we're on to Low and Lee Royal Advisors. For 2 and 2 black, so 4 mana total, they're a 3/3 legendary creature human advisor. Whenever an opponent discards a card or mills one or more cards, put a +1/+1 counter on each advisor you control. And for 2 and a blue-black hybrid, target player mills 4 cards. Thank God for the blue-black hybrid symbol on there, otherwise this card would not stand a chance at being a viable commander. But with blue in the deck, maybe.
It has 2 win cons put on it.
Yeah.
If you have
can
infinite
mill
mana,
someone to death.
You can mill someone to death. If you just discard, or an opponent discards a lot, you eventually get a big Voltron commander that you again need a ton of other support to actually kill people with. More likely you're trying to make infinite mana in blue-black, which is doable. And then incidentally have a sub-theme of mill.
I also like Altar of the Brood in this deck as a simple 1 mana card that triggers whenever another permanent you control enters, each opponent mills a card, which should trigger Low and Lee 3 times every time you play a permanent. Because whenever an opponent mills, so you don't want to mill them a lot of cards at once. You want to mill them frequently.
Yeah.
Altar of the Brood is one of the best ways of doing that.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if that's doing the thing you really want. I think this would be a better combo deck than it would be a mill theme with the payoff being Voltron damage. Because you're playing a lot of permanents, milling them a lot of times, and you have a 9/9 or 13 something commander. And you swing and they chump block.
Yeah, it's that old thing again.
And so I don't think that's the real payoff you want to be, the direction you want to be building that deck in.
Wait a second. Okay, I mean, besides the fact that you can put Bruvac in the 99, hold on, I just thought of something. Is this a Persistent Petitioner's commander? I think it is.
The 1 mana, No.
A deck may have any number of cards named Persistent Petitioners. So, maybe. Okay, let me put it this way. Low and Lee, I think, are questionable. Somewhere around like here or here even. So they're better than Chong and Lily. Are they better in the 99? Probably not.
I mean, there's no, yeah, they're better than the 99.
Oh, you think so?
Well,
Okay.
I mean, if you're in a deck that has infinite mana,
Oh.
which there are a lot of decks that make infinite mana, that's a very common thing to want to do. They're one card win con, and there's a lot of ways to do that in blue in particular, to make infinite mana, and then they don't have a lot of payoffs. So that being a single card payoff for a whole archetype of decks is a useful thing that they'd be good in the 99.
Okay. Well, then you would recommend me bumping them up?
Yeah.
Okay, and if that is the case, I think that they would be more useful than these other three.
Yeah.
And that they're, an infinite mana payoff. Whereas these other three kind of don't have place as clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I'll go with that. That said, let's see. By the way, Ame is on her way over, and I think maybe rather than interrupting, maybe we can just let her in and when she shows up, so don't mind any background noises of that. In fact, I will let her know.
Groceries might be delivered at some point soon.
Oh yeah, that too. I kind of want to get through this, so I think I may just continue this regardless.
Sure.
So, come in, but be quiet, please.
They're 3 stops away, so I'll lose 5-10 minutes at that point.
Okay. So,
Not before
next
this
on our list is Longshot Rebel Bowmen, which is one you've been looking at, right?
Yep, that's one I'm excited about.
For 3 in a red, they're a legendary creature, human rebel ally. They're part of Jet's crew. They're a 3/3 with reach, and non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Longshot deals 2 damage to each opponent. Those are some pretty sexy couple of lines there next to each other.
Yep.
Put on the same card.
Whenever is a wonderful thing.
Untapped, as you said.
Yep. So win con right there. And I'm building it with more discount stuff so that you get 2 less for stuff to cost. There's a fair number of colorless artifacts that cost 2 and draw you a card.
Oh, artifacts,
And-
of course.
So just go with a whole bunch of cantrips, and you pay nothing and draw a card to replace itself and deal 2 damage to everyone. You need to do that 20 times.
Okay, because I think maybe I was thinking of kind of a mundane way of doing it, how you can turn Lightning Strike into Lightning Bolt plus 2 to each opponent, which sounds like a pretty good way to start, but it only goes up from there.
Yeah, no, the main thing is you need to solve it. It does the payoff. It does mana. You need to solve card draw somehow. In mono red, there's not a ton of draw 10 or 20 cards.
No.
But there's a lot of draw 1 or 2 cards. In particular, there's a whole bunch of the discard a card, draw 2, and that can help solve the issue of I drew a land.
Okay.
So,
All right.
that, yeah, will be a good deck and fun. Nope.
Yep. Okay. Ame is here, just so you know we are still recording, but so, she can feel free to lend color commentary if she feels like it, but not obligated to, as she has not seen Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Cameo!
Okay, so with Longshot, I think we got to put it all the way up in Excited.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
Would you put it higher or lower than Roku? You know what?
high.
Actually, before I ask, I'm probably also going to be playing Roku in a deck, so I think that since we're both excited
Two
for
votes.
Roku, let's put Longshot 1 notch down from that.
Sure, I think Longshot will be a more powerful deck and more likely to find all the pieces to make it a viable deck than Roku. But yeah, 2 votes versus, or 1.5 votes versus 1 vote.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah. Honestly, this guy's kind of nuts. I mean, 4 mana is not the easiest cost in the world, but it's still pretty easy.
Yeah.
unlike 3 and triple red.
Yeah.
But now let's get on to Mai and Zuko, which is a colorless, a blue, a black, and a red. I keep saying colorless. I've been ingrained in that from like 20 plus years of it being colorless. It's generic now. Legendary creature, human noble ally. They are a 3/5 for 4 with firebending 3, and you may cast ally spells and artifact spells as though they had flash.
So, there's 2 different decks that this makes, the Ally Tribal and Artifact Tribal. The Ally one is potentially viable. I think there's one other Avatar commander that will do Ally a little bit better.
Yeah, although this will get you some black allies, which there aren't many of.
Yeah.
Because usually the black aligned characters in this are not your allies.
Yeah. But the artifacts with flash deck,
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that I have this in the excited, and I might build a deck around it, or at least look into it. I'm not a big fan of artifacts. Haven't done the deep dive where I know every single artifact combo.
Oh, well, okay, yeah.
And therefore, I'm not able to build artifact combo decks nearly as well or as quickly. That said, if someone brings this and sits across the table at a bracket 4 deck, I'm expecting it to do broken things really
it's
easily.
Gonna be nuts, yeah.
And I will. If they play anything, and I will go, okay, I don't know what combo that does, but it probably is a combo. I'm going to counterspell that.
Yeah.
Even if I haven't thought through how it wins the game, I'll just counterspell it, to be safe.
And unlike some of the other commanders where I've done some searches for, like, what are all the lessons in this color? I could search up all the allies in these colors, but it's going to be a pretty large number. More importantly, I could search up all the artifacts in this color, and it would be a gigantic list. There are so many things that you could do artifacts-wise with Mai and Zuko. And of course, you can also just split the difference and do a few of the best allies and then a lot of super sick artifacts.
Yeah.
Firebending 3 means that you're going to be getting 3 free mana out of your commander every time they attack, and you can spend that mana on allies or artifacts, which is pretty nuts. Honestly, this one's going to go in exciting. I think I'm going to put it here. For the average player, this probably should be the highest of the ones that we've done, but me and my roommate, we are particularly excited about these 2. We have been brainstorming them, so...
And a little bit of a minus to that one of it's a deck where you will have some less fun playing it because people will remove your commander instantly. Multiple times.
Mai and Zuko is a clear and present danger.
Yeah, and that does make it a little bit less fun to play when you have to pay 4 commander tax before you can get your game plan going.
Of course, ideally, if you're talking about bringing that to a bracket 4 table, then everyone should have commanders of similar, threat. And so maybe that evens out again, but we'll see. On to a character that I thought no way was going to get a magic card. Moku Meandering Drummer. He is the 3rd and least important character of the group of bards from that one episode where they go through the tunnel. And they gave him a card. Okay. Moku Meandering Drummer is a generic and a red for a legendary creature human bard ally. He's a 2/2 for 2, passes the vanilla test. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may pay 1. If you do, Moku gets +2/+1, and creatures you control gain haste until end of turn.
So it's a 3 mana, jump through a little bit of a hoop, give everything haste, which I do play in a couple decks. Not sure it will be better than the other 3 mana give everything haste.
No, it's worse than that. It's not 3 mana because you have to also cast the non-creature spell, which isn't going to cost 0. If you're lucky, it'll cost 1.
If I wanted to already cast a spell before I needed haste anyways, then it's still almost 3 mana, but yeah. A hoop, not quite as good. But something you might look at for your particular deck that already had that card in it. and this does the same thing, and you wanted another one, sure. It's I guess a Voltron, wants to be built as a Voltron deck.
Does
It buffs the commander as on it. It's not a good Voltron deck.
Oh man.
But yeah, you do a bunch of pump spells on him, or protection, or evasion, and then he gives himself more pump. Sure. But yeah, not super powerful. There is a lot more Voltron you can do better.
I thought about something like Hordling Outburst, so you can pay 3 to get 3 goblins, and then maybe you're giving them haste because you're paying the 1 extra. However, look at this. When you cast an uncreature spell, you may pay 1. If you do, he gets the buff, and creatures you control gain haste. Creatures you control gain haste before the original spell resolves, and the way that's worded, I believe that still only affects the creatures that you control when the ability resolves, which is before the spell resolves. So the Hordling Outburst goblins will not have haste.
Yep.
The only way I thought the deck was viable.
The next turn, when you cast another one of that,
jeez.
then they do. But yeah, not.
No.
It's
Whoa, boy. No. He's bad.
Yep.
All right. Momo, Rambunctious Rascal. He's 2 and a white for a legendary creature, Lemur Bat Ally. He's a 1/1 for 3, which doesn't sound good. Momo has flying, and when he enters, he deals 4 damage to target tapped creature an opponent controls. I mean, no.
Yeah.
No. You don't want this as a commander. It's not good in the 99. 3-mana 1/1 flyer that might bop a medium-sized creature if they, tap it.
Yeah.
That's just... I mean, it's probably around here-ish. I don't know. Sorry. It's an uncommon from an intro set or whatever. It's no. There's like 2 Momos in the main set, by the way, that have some potential, but not this one. Monk Gyatso, which is... his character has been boiled down to, I make cakes. He's 3 generic and a white for a legendary creature human monk, or 3/3, and whenever another creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability, you may airbend that creature. Okay.
It says whenever.
And it doesn't say an opponent controls, so it will trigger if you target your own creatures.
Yeah. I don't think there's a blink loop you can do with that lets you blink a thing and blink a creature and generate 2 mana.
Because my first thought's Lightning Greaves, so you can target all of your creatures for 0, and they, will do the thing. But the thing is, they all kind of go poof, and then they come back for 2 colorless. So it doesn't seem good.
Well, good in a blink deck where, the creature ETBs and draws you a card, or does removal, and you want to blink that again. And if you can blink that with Lightning Greaves or similar, sure. Not bracket 4.
Yeah. And he fails the vanilla test, and he doesn't have any keywords like lifelink or vigilance or anything. No ward, hexproof. He doesn't help you recast the creatures. Honestly, I would love this guy if it said that, spells you cast from exile cost 1 colorless less.
Yeah.
Then he'd be, great airbending teacher. But he's not. The one other thing that I have to say about him is that in the extended art, you can see that Aang is over there about to eat that cake. So that's nice. That almost puts him up a category. But as it stands, I feel like this guy's questionable. Maybe about here. Is he better in the 99? Not really. But I still think he doesn't have that high of a potential. He might go in an Aang deck, but even then he might not. Because would you put the target all of your stuff for 0 mana card in a deck where Monk Gyatso's in the 99? Unless the card was like Lightning Greaves where you might play it anyway, I don't think so.
In just a general blink deck, you might throw him in there. because, okay, you're targeting to blink one thing, and this lets you blink another thing for 2 extra mana. If you're already paying 2 to blink something, doubling your blinks is okay.
So Ephemerate is one of the most popular cards that does that, right?
It's the cheapest, yeah. After you run out of the 2 or 3 1-mana blinks, you have to go for 2 mana blinks.
Did you know that if you try to cast Ephemerate on a creature you control with Monk Gyatso, it counters your Ephemerate and you don't get the rebound? Because his trigger will go on the stack, making the creature exiled from airbending before Ephemerate resolves, countering your own Ephemerate. So, whoo! That's unfortunate. Good little rules tip there, don't do that. Nyla, Sureshoe Sleuth. This is one that I was actually kind of hoping would get a legendary creature, but didn't expect it. So neat. But they are 4 generic and a black for a legendary creature Mole Beast. They're a 4/5. When they enter, exile up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard. If you do, you lose X life and create X clue tokens, where X is that card's mana value. At the beginning of your end step, if you control no clues, return target card exiled with Nyla to its owner's hand. So that's a weird couple of things she does. Because I'm remembering now Nyla is a girl. Because her writer does say it a couple times. Okay. So 5 mana, enter, you exile something from your graveyard, you get some clues. So in theory, to get the most bang for your buck off of the first ability, you want the highest mana value possible. So your Dracos and your Shadow of Mortalities for 15 and 16 clues. But then you're also losing 15 and 16 life. And the clues don't do anything on their own. You have to pay 2 mana per in order to do anything with them. Alternatively, at the beginning of your end step, if you control no clues, you return a card exiled with Nyla to your hand. But she only triggers when she enters, so it could be kind of like a convoluted Gravedigger.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm leaning towards questionable. I don't know that she's lame, actually. Because maybe there's a balance that you want to strike between you want to make some clues, but not that many.
There's a lot of clue support out there.
Although not as much in mono black.
Yeah, and in general, if someone says I have a clue combo deck and they're sitting across from me, I still don't fear it all that much.
Yeah.
Better than a food deck, but because at least they could draw some cards. But yeah, it not the scariest thing out there. I'm a little confused by the top line of exile up to 1 target.
Oh yeah, that does mean that you can have her enter, make exile no target creatures, lose no life, get no clues, and then at the beginning of your end step, return all no card to your hand because you have no clues.
Yeah, so I guess it's you've exiled something once before, your commander dies, you play it again, want to exile no new thing, but it will still let you then get that first card back.
Honestly, I feel like, okay, the only reason I can see for saying up to 1 target is if you have a creature that you'd really like to reanimate in the graveyard and you don't want to accidentally exile it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'd say just don't cast it in that moment. You know, you don't have to non-bow yourself.
You could do.
Okay, my gut is telling me that Nyla here goes somewhere around, here.
Low questionable. There might be a way to break it, or to at least get decent value out of it that I haven't thought of, but I'm also not interested to think of it.
I thought about, is she better in the 99, but it seems like no, because she doesn't make clues unless you are exiling creatures from your graveyard to do so, and if you have clues, then she doesn't bring the thing back. So it seems like doesn't really lend to a clue strategy very well.
Well, yeah, very narrow clue decks.
Yeah.
And there's not a ton of those anyways.
Pipsqueak, another character that I thought no way was going to get their own legendary creature card in Avatar: The Last Airbender, because they are barely important enough to have a name. But they do appear in more than one episode, so here they are. The Rebel Strongarm for 2 generic and a white is a 4/4? Human Rebel Ally. Pipsqueak can't attack alone unless he has a +1/+1 counter on him. Well, that's not very good.
Yeah.
But if I remember right, the first set of ally cards did involve +1/+1 counters quite a bit. And getting a +1/+1 counter or a buddy is not too hard, except the payoff is a slightly above curve creature.
Yeah.
No vigilance, no trample. Honestly, funny enough, as a mono white card, I would have accepted a color pie bend of giving this guy trample, considering that he has some hoops to jump through before he does really anything. But unfortunately, I think he's got to go in lame.
Yep.
Yeah. Just being one larger than you would hope in exchange for a drawback like that. I do encourage them to make more cards with drawbacks.
Yeah.
Because it opens up more design space. Sometimes drawbacks are very interesting. But the payoff needs to be better than being slightly above curve.
Yeah.
If this was green, it'd be like an 8/8. Okay? But it's not. Princess Yue is 2 and a blue for a legendary creature, human noble ally, and she's a 3/2. When Princess Yue dies, if she was a non-land creature, return this card to the battlefield tapped under your control. She's a land named Moon. She gains tap, add a colorless, and she's still legendary. And you can tap her to scry too. So this, of course,
thematic.
is similar to the card Imprisoned in the Moon.
Yeah, which is a thing you normally want to do to other people's commanders.
Mm-hmm. Where it turns their creature or planeswalker into a land that taps for a colorless.
And makes it so that they can't target it with normal removal to get rid of it and you lock their commander away.
Exactly. It's a commander kill spell that doesn't straight up kill it, so that's stuck. But in this case, you're doing it on purpose to your own commander, and I've heard there's some nutty stuff you can actually do with her because of this.
Possible, haven't heard, but can believe it.
Clone. If you cast straight up clone, the clone will trigger the legend rule, and then the clone will have to be sacrificed. Then the clone will try to return to the battlefield as a land, except because it's a clone, I guess it'll try to clone again?
Yeah.
And it'll try to become
when it
UA
returns to the
again?
battlefield. So you get infinite ETBs and leave the battlefield triggers.
I think that's how it works.
Can believe that or something similar exists and is a thing that works. Half of a 2-card combo in the command zone for 3 mana is pretty good.
You do still have to have a payoff for, like, infinite ETBs of a creature and infinite dies of a creature. That's
And
not the easiest
blue
thing in the
doesn't
world.
do as well, yeah.
Yeah, especially because the legend rule doesn't use the stack. I don't know if you knew this. So, and it technically doesn't count as sacrificing also. It is put
just
into the graveyard.
State-based, yeah. So
I was thinking for a minute that you could do, like, the
It's not die
Altar
triggers,
of
then.
Dementia.
But yeah, it wouldn't work.
But it wouldn't work because you have no opportunity to even pay the cost. It does count as dying, though. It doesn't count as sacrificing, but it does count as dying. So if you have some die trigger, that would work.
Yeah, doesn't count for storm or anything
No.
that way.
It is tricky to try to imagine the combo with it, but I know it's there.
Yeah.
Which okay.
means it's not a very reliable deck, but one that's going to have you shut down the instant you play your commander.
I think if I've understood this card correctly, I think it's the top of questionable, in that I'm not quite sure how you do it, hence questionable, but if you do it, it shoots right past all these other things to being absolutely nuts.
Yeah. But really easy to make the deck in a way that you will not have fun playing, because people will just kill your commander instantly, and then you sit there twiddling your thumbs.
Oh yeah, also I should say that even while she is the moon, she retains the ability to tap to scry. So that's neat.
Is there any shenanigans you can do because her name is Moon? Is that something they've printed before?
So the legend rule only applies if it's a legendary permanent, if both of them are legendary permanents and they have the same name. So that does mean that you could end up with a clone of Princess Yue and the Moon both on the battlefield at the same time.
But there's no other cards that reference that name or...
No.
But they might eventually print something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there could be a card like Blood Moon that says, like, destroy target Moon.
Yeah.
Sorry, you would have to say destroy target, like, card named Moon or something. With we have yet to unlock the potential of permanents with the word Moon in their name.
But because they added that wonky phrasing, that might be there eventually.
Yeah. But honestly, I think it's just because her name is Moon and she is still legendary. It does kind of matter. Cloning her after she's become the Moon with, like, Vesuva would still cause a legendary trigger to kill it. But it's weird. It's super weird. Look up your rules before you think that your combo works, just to make sure. Smellerbee, another one of the creatures that I thought no way it was going to get an avatar card, but here we are, the Rebel Fighter for 3 generic and a red, a legendary creature, human rebel ally. They are a 3/3 with first strike. Other creatures you control have haste, and whenever Smellerbee attacks, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw cards equal to the number of attacking creatures. Huh.
So there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah,
It
actually.
says whenever, which means you can do some game-breaking loops. And it's a wheel on a stick, which is also a very powerful thing to do.
And you can even discard your hand that has no cards in it and draw like 4 pretty easily.
Yep. Encourages, if you do this fair, you just make a bunch of creatures, dump your hand, and then draw cards every turn, which isn't bad. That solves a problem that is hard to solve in mono red.
Yeah.
And
it gives them all haste, so you can always, like, just get someone out of the game. You never have to worry about the whole, I play a creature, pass the turn, and then it does a thing I want.
Yep.
You know?
And for the bracket 4 combo deck, where you're making X 1/1 creatures that don't come with haste, and now they do, and you have a couple extra combat cards in there, and then you play an extra combat card, and then draw 10 cards, one of which is an extra combat card, and then you dump your extra creatures, and then extra combat, and just keep throwing your hand at them until they die. That could be a pretty powerful and potentially very fast aggro combo.
Oh, deck. I'm not thinking of active aggression. What's the card
The
where you
pay
can
5 mana.
Pay 5 to take an extra combat. Do you remember what that one's called?
Have it in a couple decks. I'll find it in a second.
Okay.
That in that particular one.
Well, you can also play it alongside a bunch of firebenders to pay for that.
Yeah.
And then this might be the best commander that does that, considering that you will draw more steam and give haste along the way.
Yeah. Want a bunch of the red ritual spells in there as well.
Oh, yeah. 4 mana is not a tiny amount, but it's not that much of a hurdle.
Yep.
And I think there's she. I think Smellerbee's a girl. She has first strike built in too, which means that she doesn't fear things as much in combat as like a vanilla creature would.
Yeah.
She can get around some stuff. So Smellerbee is genuinely pretty good, I think.
I have it in the excited.
Here. Maybe here.
I have it in my...
Oh, you have it in excited.
See if I can make it into a deck list.
Ah, okay. So we've got only red cards up there right now. I did hear some people online saying recently that red seems like it might be Wizard's favorite color now, as opposed to a few years ago it was clearly green.
Yeah. Aggravated Assault.
Aggravated Assault. Okay. Yeah. So throw in a few firebenders, and Smellerbee should be able to go infinite with Aggravated Assault, which should be pretty nuts if you want to go for your bracket 4 deck.
Yep.
So I would hesitate. Honestly, I think that this card should be on the Game Changers list, personally, because I don't think there's a fair way to play it.
There is. It's just not usually done.
The fair way to play it is what? You don't have a way of making 5 mana during combat.
Or you have the way to make 8 mana once. It gets you a single extra combat.
Yeah.
Is the fair way.
Which, in that case, don't play Aggravated Assault. Play one of the 7
3
other
mana.
take an extra combat cards. This one is only good, really, if you're doing it over and over again, and then it's nuts.
Yep.
That said, we are on to Sokka and Suki. Another one of the cards from the same, panorama kind of thing. This one, and this, I guess, is, from the end of the series.
Yeah.
So, everybody's together having a good time, except Momo stole his scroll. So for a blue, a red, and a white, a legendary creature, human warrior ally, there are 3 mana 3/3. Whenever Sokka and Suki or another ally you control enters, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to that creature. Whenever an equipment you control enters, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. Well, that's interesting.
So yeah, you play an equipment, you make an ally, and you get to attach the equipment to that ally or any other ally. There are a lot of equipment decks out there. That's a pretty common archetype, and I'm not sure if this is the best or near the best of that archetype. It might be flavor-wise a little different or color-wise a little different. It gives you blue, where most of those are red-white.
Okay, yeah, true.
And so, like the Shrines one, this thing has been done many times before.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure if anyone would be excited to get to do that thing for the first time with this commander. But if you've never done it before, sure.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Well, one thing that makes this kind of unique is that this is the only equipment deck that I can think of where you aren't struggling to find the balance between equipment and creatures to pick up the equipment. You could theoretically build a deck that has almost no creatures in it. It's almost all equipment, and they make a body to put on them. So it's like you have a deck full of living weapon?
That would be a fun bracket 2, bracket 1 deck.
Yeah.
Of just, I have no creatures but the commander in this.
Yeah, I think, to me, I think I want to put it at the bottom of high potential.
Sure, I gotta go get my groceries.
Okay, so I'll cover the next one or two on my own here. So we're on to Sokka Swordmaster, who's 2 and a white for a 3/3 legendary creature human warrior ally. This is a mythic rare, so hopefully it's a little better than some of the others. Equipment spells you cast cost a colorless less to cast for each ally you control. That's a little dangerous. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to Sokka. Wow, that actually seems quite good. 3 mana 3/3 passes the vanilla test with flying colors because you get the vigilance and the other abilities on top of it. If you have a couple of... If he's alone, your equipment spells cost 1 less. If he's got a couple of ally buddies, and he probably will, then you could start dropping equipment for free, and then you equip one of them for free every combat onto him. So this is a Voltron commander where you play a couple other allies, and you play a couple other... You play a bunch of equipments, and then you drop them for free? I kind of gotta wonder what equipment have bonus abilities on them, like for Mirrodin or something, where they enter and do a thing like making an extra token, or maybe Job Select, where they enter and make you a token as well. The Job Select makes you a 1/1 hero, and for Mirrodin makes you a 2/2 rebel. But you can play both of those. I think this does have high potential as well. The only real problem is that... Well, 2 problems. One is that you're stuck in mono white, and the other one is that he doesn't really play nice with others that much, in the sense that while he wants there to be other allies, he doesn't help them. He takes advantage of the fact that you have other allies. So to me, I think that goes at the bottom of high potential again. Yeah.
I jumped the gun.
Oh, okay. The thing
My
wasn't here
delivery is
yet.
next delivery, not
Oh, okay.
their delivery.
Okay, so I just got done looking at a pretty good Sokka. Now let's look at 3/3 Vigilance for 3, and that's the end of the card.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems pretty clearly to be lame. This is episode 1 Sokka.
Vanilla.
Yeah, I mean, French vanilla. But yeah, I think he's got to go somewhere around like
Worse.
here. Really only viable in your draft and sealed and kind of thing. Suki Kiyoshi Captain. I hope there's a good Suki card. I don't know if this is one of them. 2 and a white for a legendary creature human warrior ally. She's a 3/3. Other warriors you control get +1/+1. And for 3 and a white, attacking warriors you control gain double strike until end of turn. So a mono-white warrior commander who can give double strike. Very powerful ability. For 4 mana is kind of a lot, but it might be worth it considering how powerful that can be.
Yeah, only really works in Warrior Tribal.
Yeah, of
maybe
course.
powerful in the 99 if your Voltron commander that really needs double strike happens to be a warrior.
Yeah.
Not thinking of anyone off the top of my head, but yeah, and even still, there's a lot more in white that can give you double strike permanently for less mana than, what's that, 4, 5, 6, 7?
Well, I do like that she passes the vanilla test and has the Lord ability of making your warriors bigger as a static ability all the time as soon as she enters. I think that she is probably great in the 99 and probably okay as a commander. So I want to put her like here. Now, mono-white allies isn't really a supported, mono-white warriors isn't really a supported tribe if I recall correctly, or not supported much. But her in the 99 of a like red, black, white, like Mardu warriors deck, I think she's going to do work.
I mean, still overcosted for that. The dragon.
I mean,
one of the
honestly,
99.
the way I think of it is remove this activated ability, and I think that that's still a decent card in a warrior tribal deck. Add that back on, and it may be a little overcosted, but it's kind of a bonus.
In bracket 2 warrior.
Yeah,
tribal?
bracket
Sure.
2, maybe 3 if you're doing like the whole mobilize thing, so you're making warriors for next to nothing, and now they're twice as big. Once again, on a 3 mana 3/3 that gives that buff, I like that quite a bit.
I guess my bracket 4 bias says that's a rounding error.
Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, the blue spirit is one I'm excited to talk about because I have been brainstorming this one a little bit. Oh, I jumped the gun a little bit, but it's a 3 generic and a blue for legendary creature human rogue ally. The first, for a 2/4. You may cast the first creature spell you cast each turn as though it had flash, and whenever a non-token creature you control enters during combat, draw a card. So, what's got me kind of excited about this is just that you can take creatures that have no business showing up in the middle of combat and dropping them in the middle of combat with flash and while drawing you an extra card.
That definitely fun. You get to be unpredictable. You get to have the control to do it on other people's turns. The draw card is wonderful. It leaves you with a couple problems for the deck that still need solved.
Yeah.
How are you paying for 3 creatures a turn? In mono blue?
You're not. You're not.
So,
This becomes a toolbox deck, where you
Yeah.
have 3 potential creatures you could cast, and then you're waiting for the opportune moment.
the
That's what I'm
problem
thinking.
then is for a toolbox, I want a ton of card draw. That way I get to select between... I have a silver bullet for any and everything, not just the best answer of 3 creatures, which is probably not the best answer.
Yeah, I'm thinking of stuff like this. You know, in the middle of combat, you can cast Mana War
Yeah.
and draw a card as well. Because as long as you drop a non-token creature during combat, you draw a card. So it's got the card draw built in. It's got the flexibility. Do I think that this is a powerful commander? Maybe not, because it's not cheating the mana cost, and that would be where it'd be really sick.
Yeah.
But I think this could be fun. So strangely, this is one example where I'm going to put it at the bottom of excited, despite the fact that it might not make the cut on the other two. So yeah, the blue spirit seems fun to me. And I also always like messing with combat. Did you need to go check that again? Or?
Yep.
Okay. Then I will try to judge the cabbage merchant on my own.
The internet has already found and talked about the brokenness of that card.
Oh yeah, he was one of the first cards spoiled for this set for some reason.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, the cabbage merchant is 2 and a green for a 2/2 human citizen. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, create a food. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, create a food. And tap 2 untapped foods you control to add 1 mana of any color.
That's sacrifice food, not creative food.
What did I say? Oh,
Creative
whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, sacrifice a food token. Yeah, whoopsie. Good call. So, right, there is that drawback, because canonically, in the show, of course, he is the fall guy for so many shenanigans that happen. He even moves from city to city, and people keep causing mayhem and destroying his cabbage cart. Keeps happening. So, when a creature deals combat damage to you, you have to sack a food. But whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, you make a food. So in theory, you should be making foods a lot more often than you're sacrificing them, and you can tap them for mana. Okay, actually, I think I do want his help, because it seems fine. I was just saying, I think I actually do want your help on this one, because it seems fine, but I don't get why it would be crazy.
I haven't done all the research on it myself yet, but I know there's a couple food combos you can do with it that are break the game and let you win.
Okay.
They're...
Okay, is it like repeatedly making food or making things into food?
Yeah, if you can turn mana into food, and then you turn that into more mana.
Gotcha. Okay.
That lets you do some loops. And I think, if I remember correctly, you can get infinite loops really easily with multiple cards and methods. There aren't a lot of good ways to turn that infinite mana and food tokens into an actual win. And in mono green, then a couple.
Here's one. Helix Pinnacle is a green for an enchantment with Shroud. Put X tower counters on this permanent. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 100 or more tower counters on this enchantment, you win the game. There you go. Turn infinite mana into a win in mono green.
But hard to tutor for that in mono green.
Sure, yeah.
And you still have to wait until you're up tap.
Yeah.
And you just did a super scary thing, have a bunch of food tokens and no blockers, and an enchantment saying remove this or you lose. And so you don't actually get to win with it.
So if it was me on my own, I'd have to put him at the top of questionable, but because we know that other people have figured out the combos with him, I gotta put him in high potential, and I think I'm gonna put him here.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you want to know how to break it, look at TikTok / any of the other places that have already found it.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'm not super interested in breaking it in a way people have already broken it.
Right.
Therefore, not excited myself. I'll just wait till someone else plays it and go, oh, you're
It's
playing
that
that? Let me instantly remove it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me find another removal to instantly remove it again. Have fun sitting there.
Then I think we come to finally the last of Jet's crew. Another one. You know, I've kind of said what I was going to say, that I never expected this guy to get his own commander card. But at least he's a 1-mana legendary creature in mono white. He's a human rebel ally, and he's a 0/1. But he enters with a +1/+1 counter on him, so he's really a 1/2. You can tap to remove a counter from the Duke and put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature you control. It gains hexproof until end of turn. So this reminds me of a couple of other cards. Back in the day, there was Micaeus.
What's the one-drop Sisay one?
Well, Micaeus is X and a white, and he enters with X plus almost one counters, and you can remove his counters to put them on somebody else. You can have to put counters on himself. So the Duke is actually slightly more efficient than that because he comes out for one, but on his own only does the trick once. Alternatively, there is what is his name from Final Fantasy VII, the flashback character. Shoot.
Was it Zach?
Zach. Zach, is it with a K? It is not. It is with a C. Zach Fair. Who is extremely similar. 1 to cast for a 0/1, enters with a +1/+1 counter on him. For him, you have to pay 1 and sacrifice him, and then you give a creature you control indestructible until end of turn, and you move his counters and equipment so you can pass off the Buster Sword to Cloud. With Duke, you don't have to pay 1, you don't have to sacrifice him, but you do have to tap him and remove his counter to pass it on. So they're similar but different. This gives hexproof instead of indestructible. Duke doesn't have to die to do it. But I'm not really sure how you would go about making this guy as your commander, or why. It seems like his purpose is to save other creatures, so maybe he has a place in the 99 of a +1/+1 counter matters deck, where you want to be able to save your commander, but honestly, he doesn't even seem very good in that.
I am definitely looking at him for my Sisay deck.
Oh, in the 99.
Yeah.
Okay, well...
It's still slow, and you'll still probably remove him after I put him on the battlefield, and or remove Sisay. But it is a, once he's out there, protect Sisay card that you can tutor instantly.
Okay.
So there's other commanders that are hidden commanders you might put into his deck. And yeah, the Zach, and there's the one white drop toxic creature that does the same thing.
Oh, right, Skrelv.
They're all approximately equivalent.
Okay.
And protect the commander not immediately.
Okay.
Which makes me sad. I'm waiting for the power creep to go 1 drop, protect the commander once immediately.
Yeah.
But I don't have that yet.
We shall see. But as it stands, Duke is the worst that is still good in the 99, potentially.
Yeah, there might be some sort of hidden commander stuff you could do that he then protects in mono white. But I don't know what it is.
Next, we have the Terror of Serpent's Pass, which is 5 generic and 2 blue for an 8/8 legendary creature Serpent. It has hexproof, and that's it. And for somebody who has a sea monster deck that cares about serpents, it's still not very good having just hexproof and being legendary. Honestly, I know that having hexproof can be good. Maybe just as a commander thing, you just put equipment on this. This is possibly like the dumbest Voltron commander that you could build. Just fill your deck with equipment, play mono blue control, and swing out with an 8/8 that will just kill some people eventually. Gosh, I'm tempted to say that he's lame. I'm tempted to say that he's questionable. He's definitely not better in the 99. He's terrible in the 99. I cannot stand to put him... Can I really stand to put him here? If you seriously just put some, like, equipment that gives him flying or something, or vigilance here, then is he actually good? No. No. I refuse to believe it. I'm putting him at the top of lame. Okay? I'm putting him at the top of lame because all he has is hexproof and he costs 7. So you are playing a mono blue control deck that has some equipment in it because you're trying to do the slowest Voltron the world's ever seen. And I hate you. But good luck. It's...
You could do it all control spells, and just not let anyone do anything until turn 7, and then not let anyone do anything after turn 7. and just slowly whittle them down.
If your opponents never do anything ever, then it's good.
The win con is commander damage in the command zone, and then you just have all islands and counterspells.
You know what? You can put Loxodon on Warhammer on this guy, and you swing for 11 trample lifelink every turn, hexproof. Bam! Problem solved until someone finds a board wipe. So anyway, top of lane. Going on to Toph, Airbending Master. She's 4 mana for a 2/4 human warrior ally with landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you get an experience counter. Being the Earthbending Master, she's the experience counter creature here. And whenever you attack, Earthbend X, where X is the number of experience counters you have. This seems like it has some pretty good potential. It triggers landfall, which is one of the easiest triggers you can do in Magic. Yeah. And whenever you attack, so it happens every combat, assuming that you have at least one creature you want to attack with. It doesn't have to be Toph, so it can happen the turn Toph enters.
Yeah.
I think that...
And once you've done it, once you've attacked once, then you can attack with the earthbending creatures and lands, and they will trigger the rest of the attacks to let Toph be safe.
And you actually don't need to worry too much about losing your land creatures if you earthbent them, because if they die, they come back as land still. Yep. Oh, and by the way, they return to the battlefield tapped. Oh, well, whatever. Oh, yeah, and when they die or are exiled, so nobody even wants to, like, swords them or,
The random board wipe won't kill them either.
Yeah. So Toph, I think the main thing holding her back is that she's mono green.
Yeah, mono green definitely slows down the deck a bit. It's probably not going to be a bracket 4 deck.
No.
But, yeah, it will get you consistent value. You just ramp a ton and eventually whittle people down with kind of unavoidable combat damage. You still need evasion, or just trade your land creatures for their creatures until they run out of blockers.
I mean, in mono green, you can still probably find enough ways of giving them trample.
Yeah.
Or, yes, you just have enough creatures with enough counters on them that's like, I'm attacking you with 7 forests that are each 6/6s.
Well, no, I attacked you with 2 earthbent creatures last turn. You have 1 blocker left. I attack you with 2 this turn. I kill your 1 blocker. You kill my earthbent creature. It comes back. And I hit you for the other 1, and next turn I'll hit you for 2 creatures, and you'll have no more blockers.
Oh yeah, and what's that? I attacked with a 4/4 land last turn, and you killed it. Well, that land comes back, and then next turn I make it into a 5/5 because whenever the lands die in combat, they return to the battlefield and trigger landfall again, getting her more experience.
Ooh, I wonder if there's a way to break stuff where you're intentionally sacking your lands.
I think that's actually the plan. I think what you do then is you play
there's a whole bunch of
Zurin Orb, where you can sack a land to gain 2 life. Every combat you attack with however many lands that you want to. Yeah. You sacrifice them. After combat, they die. They come back tapped. You get a bunch more experience counters on Toph, and then you earthbend for even more and even more. So
there's a green-black creature
here, but still held back a little bit by being mono green.
Yeah, if it was green and black, then there's a bunch of stuff that lets you sacrifice lands for mana, or sacrifice all lands and get all lands back from the graveyard.
And you can only earthbend once per turn with her.
Yeah.
Once per combat, but you're not playing red. So you're still limited in that regard, but it is nice to have the landfall of experience counters, so it even carries over from one life of Toph to another. So there's some potential there. We are nearing the end of our list, thankfully. As we get to Toph Greatest Earthbender, 2 generic, a red and a green for a 3/3, legendary creature, human warrior ally. When Toph enters, Earthbend X, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast her. Interesting. Land creatures you control have double strike.
So great in the 99 of any earth or land attacking decks.
Yeah.
Which is an archetype and a lot more support now. Many of them are mono green, and so the red might make it not fit in a lot of decks that wanted it.
That's true. Granted, I think that when we get to the main set, we're going to find more. The colors are a lot more limited in this subset. You can see that other than the one panorama set where they're all multicolor pretty much, almost everything else is monocolor.
Yeah.
So I think she is genuinely quite good in the 99 of any multicolored land attack kind of deck. And they're
still might be able
archetype.
to make a deck with her as the commander. Might not be the best in that archetype. Probably not. Has the protection of people don't want to remove it, because then you get to Earthbend again.
Oh yeah,
but
that's
still
true.
Not great.
Yeah, because you cast her the first time you Earthbend 4, you cast her the second time you Earthbend 6. That's not nothing.
Yep. I'm not sure it's worth killing her yourself to be able to do that.
Yeah, not sure about that.
But it will make people second guess. Okay, I know you're swinging at me with 3 lands that have double strike, and I have the removal spell in my hand. I don't want to remove your land because it comes back, and I don't want to remove the commander because it will also come back and make another land. So I will just take the damage.
Okay. So, Twee and Law, Moon and Ocean, are 3 and a blue for a legendary creature, Fish Spirit. Whenever Twee and Law become tapped, draw a card. Whenever Twee and Law become untapped, put a +1/+1 counter on them.
It says whenever.
Freed. From the real. So that seems pretty wild.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Normally you use that to make infinite mana.
This card, it does go in a lot of infinite mana combos.
There probably is a infinite combo or loop or two you can do with this commander. I don't know what it is yet. But yeah, if nothing else, you could do value freed in the real to just draw a bunch of cards each turn. Anyone who's a little paranoid will remove your commander or that combo piece, even if you're just doing it for value. And so that would make me hesitant to put it in the deck, because a card that's so good you never get to keep it isn't actually that good. That said, I'm not sure what the infinite combo is that turns +1/+1 counters into tapping.
Well, I know that Paradise Mantle can tap your creature to add 1 mana, and say if you did have both of these, then you can spend that mana to untap it. So now, if you had Freed from the Real and Paradise Mantle, you can untap infinitely, drawing cards and making it, like a 50-50. And you could do that after declaring it as an attacker and watching people squirm.
Oh, and also just you draw your whole library.
Oh yeah, draw your whole library, drop Thassa's Oracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some extra turn spells, whatever. A little bit of a ritual to play it, so you don't need much mana to start that off with. And that's probably a combo deck, and one where you're going to have to do it all in one turn pretty quickly, because they will remove any piece until then. And if that's not the game you want to play, you won't be allowed to play any other games with that commander.
Strangely, it's another one of these mono blue commanders where arguably you're playing just a really hard control deck that has, in
Combo
this case, an out.
Yeah.
It has a finish.
That is better, at least. I
think that makes it better than Princess Yue, Katara, or Terra Serpent's Pass, that's for sure. Okay, with that said, we're on to Wan Shitong All-Knowing. Now, this is a little tricky because there are 2 Wan Shitongs, one in the main set and one in the Eternal, and I think this is the not-so-good one.
Yeah.
The other one's nuts.
Yep,
but,
CEDH, for sure.
But this one is 3 and 2 blue, so 5 mana for a legendary creature, Bird Spirit. It's a 4/4 with flying. When Wan Shitong enters, target non-land permanent's owner puts it into their library second from the top or on the bottom. Okay, so you tuck something. And whenever one or more cards are put into a library from anywhere, create 2 1/1 colorless spirit creature tokens with this token can't block or be blocked by non-spirit creatures. Okay, so it's got those spirit walking kind of shadow spirits going on. Neat, but a card is put into a library to make 2 of these.
I don't think there's a loop you can do with that to make infinite amount of them. So you'll get, I mean, 4 or 5 over the course of a game when someone tutors something to the top of their library, or Sensei's Divining Top or whatever.
Oh, Sensei's Top. Oh, shoot. If you do the old Sensei's Top combo, then you now have a win condition that you're making infinite 1/1s that can't be blocked. But you still have to pass the turn to attack with them.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, this strikes as maybe the top of questionable. Maybe like this. Because I really don't know how many good effects there are that put cards into libraries. Are there repeatable ones?
All the tutors. Tutor to the top of the library.
Oh, okay. So in mono blue, that's mystical tutor and...
But your opponent's tutors as well.
Yes, but they'll know that it's going to happen. I mean, they'll be like, am I willing to get 2 more spirits for them?
You're correct. I will no longer tutor for my combo to win the game because it would give you 2 1/1s.
Well, no, it becomes one of those, what do they call it, Punisher cards, where your opponent will always choose the one that is better for them. So that means if it wins them the game, they'll do the combo anyway, and if it doesn't, then they won't.
Yeah.
So I think Wan Shitong probably goes here. 5 mana to get out is a little slow for a... But maybe there's a combo that we haven't seen. If that's the case, then I think we're back in the mono blue control, plus there's a combo thing, but we're not even sure about that.
Yeah, too expensive for me to put it into, say.
Zhao, the Seething Flame. Honestly, I think that we've already read the card, just by looking at him. He's done. Yep. He passes the vanilla test, but that's all he has going for him. So, honestly, I think we can pretty quickly put Zhao in lame, maybe right around, like, here. This is one of those cards where I kind of wish they weren't legendary.
Yeah.
But that's just where we're at in 2025. Then we get down to 3 Zuukos. The last 3 cards. Zuko Avatar Hunter, which I guess is Episode 1 Zuko. 3 generic and 2 red for a 4/5 legendary creature human noble with reach. Interesting. Whenever you cast a red spell, create a 2/2 red soldier creature token. That's interesting to me.
Yeah, whenever, so that's a potential good value, or you could break it and loop a bunch of red spells, which is a little hard to do, but it might happen. Make a bunch of tokens, and I guess it's red, so give them haste, and then hopefully win that same turn.
Shoot, what's that lizard with offspring that I've been into lately? Is it Agitator? No. Shoot, do you remember the lizard that I'm thinking of? That has offspring?
Not into lizards that way.
Good point. Agate Instigator. I love this commander for an Agate Instigator type deck, where you play all of the red spells that do this. Whenever a creature enters, you do damage to every opponent. There are like 8 of them now, and every time that you play one, you're going to be making a red soldier token. And then it's kind of funny because on the surface, it looks like you've got this army of soldiers and Zuko, and you're going to be rumbling with them when you can. And you think, oh, okay, clearly I've got to make all of my soldiers bigger and then swing with them. No. They're a distraction. You're winning with the Agate Instigator and with the Perforos and with the Impact Tremors. And there's a new one with Warp, and there's, So you just play all of those. You're just playing a, red deck that just plays lots of red spells. You're playing maybe the Fire Crystal. You're playing Fire Emerald? What, Ruby Emerald?
Yeah, the discount all red spells one.
Yeah, Ruby Medallion. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking of. And honestly, I think this could be kind of good.
Yeah.
And that Zuko becomes the distraction.
Reverse aristocrats.
Yeah. So, why are all of our excited cards kind of red? I don't know. Red's always been my favorite color. And we can go on to Zuko Firebending Master. Generic and a red for a 2/2 human noble ally with first strike and firebending X, where X is the number of experience counters you have, and whenever you cast a spell during combat, you get an experience counter. So this is Zuko in Season 3. So, Firebending X, well, you're making mana during combat, and then when you spend the mana to cast spells during combat, you get experience. So the more that you firebend into spells, the more experience you get. And he's got first strike. I was showing this guy in the 99 of a deck the other day, and he wasn't very good in the 99. In fact, he was kind of bad. But as a commander, this guy has some potential for a combat trick deck.
It's in the bottom of excited about for me.
Okay.
I have already started looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect I won't be happy with the deck once I'm done with it and won't finish making it. But yeah, it's one of the ones I've tried to make a bunch of cantrip decks and not quite succeeded many times. But yeah, the 1 mana draw a card and do that 4 times, and then next time you go to combat, you've replaced your hand with more cantrips, and then do that 8 times, because now you have 8 mana, and then do that again, and you've cycled through your library and found a payoff somehow, maybe kind of, sort of. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm also thinking about things like your brute force, your let's see. There's also what am I thinking of? Is it bulk up? That's a Pokemon attack, I think.
it could be
No,
both.
this. So when I was talking about combat trick kind of deck, you can be giving him double strike at instant speed. You can be giving him +3/+3 at instant speed. You can be giving him double power at instant speed. Flashback, so you can do it a second time. I think that is a potential way of winning, but you know what?
You need to solve the card draw problem, which is hard to do in mono red. Then it might be better to do some of the give them X power spells, and you give them a small X the first time, and then twice that X the second time, and twice that X the third time.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Although I do really like Savage Beating here, where you get an extra combat step and double strike, and it's an instant. One of the few take an extra combat that is an instant.
Yep.
So you can spend that red mana on it.
And that gets you 2 extra damage.
You know what?
Plus, I guess, +4. So 6 extra damage.
How about there?
Yeah, it has potential. I'm not sure if the deck will actually come together. Excited about it, but also skeptical.
And also, I'm getting a little,
So yeah.
a little weirded out by having so many red commanders in the excited. As we go on to our last red commander, Zuko Seeking Honor. This is absolutely like a Season 1 Zuko. 2 and a red-black hybrid for a 2/2 human noble with firebending 1. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Zuko gains first strike until end of turn. And whenever Zuko deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on him. So these look at first like they might be uncapped, but they are capped. Because gaining first strike more than once is useless. And dealing combat damage to a player more than once is not likely to happen in a turn, although you could do it later on in the game. Honestly, this guy seems very basic.
Yeah.
In fact, he seems like a solid firebending guy, whereas you might not want to have him as your commander, and you might, I don't know if you'll make the cut in the 99, but maybe?
If you want lots of firebending creatures, he's another one and has a little bit of protection.
Yeah, I
Which
think
makes him better than some of the other 3-cost firebending creatures, but probably not better than the 2-cost firebending creatures.
I think in most worlds this guy would be just a good uncommon creature and not legendary.
Yeah.
And here, well, I think that he is better in the 99 and probably somewhere around here.
Yeah.
Okay, which means that we have analyzed every potential commander in the Avatar: The Last Airbender Eternal set, which is not standard legal, but it's clearly already enough work for one day. And yeah, the most exciting ones are all red, because they all kind of build up in some way.
And one blue that's from the Fire Nation still.
Yeah, it's still Zuko. I mean, spoiler alert for something that happens in season 1, I think. Or maybe season 2? I don't know. The Blue Spirit. Yeah, in fact, 3 of them are Zuko. And then... oh, and Longshot isn't a firebender, of course. Neither is Smeller Bee, but... yeah, so there's kind of a trend here. Granted, there is a pretty big variety among high potential. So, with that said, I think I'm pretty happy with this list. Oh, but there are a lot of lame commanders, but that's honestly kind of to be expected, considering we're talking about a subset that will include welcome decks and jumpstart packs that are putting legendary characters onto cards that would probably be okay uncommons. You know? So I didn't expect a lot from some of those. They're fine to be down where they are. You know... but hopefully this will inspire some of you to build some decks around some of these characters. And I think that we'll be back soon to cover the standard set.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, with that said, I think we'll sign off here, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.